Isn't that weird? It's crazy, right?
There you go. You can still do the strategy.
People are like, oh, you'll date yourself when you use the word Carlton Sheets, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? We've gone into houses that were vacant, and on the floor, you know how people just run and they leave everything? Literally in the packages is Carlton Sheets on DVDs, literally. And I'm
Wow.
like, all you had to do was just open the package and you never would have lost your house.
Yep.
Yeah.
To this day, it was a couple years ago, and we still see his packages there. And it's like, just open them up. We still use a lot of their in and out forms for real estate all the time.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of the, I mean, look, we have Wade cookbooks too. I mean, I'm not saying, look, you gotta do your research on people. He sold a lot. He's a guru. Sold a lot of different types of stuff.
Yeah, the gurus are just gurus. That's what they are for, to sell products, not really.
But I did some reviews of this guy. I didn't see anything bad. So
Alan's been around for a long time. I mean, he's one of the older guys. You know, Carlton Sheets is one of the older guys. If you can, what's his name? Peter. He was doing something. I think he did something a few months ago.
hey, Daniel, we have him on.
Hey, what's up?
I call him one of the founding fathers because he was like one of the first 4 guys to take creative financing strategies and apply it to residential properties back in like the 70s, you know. So I was like, oh, he's one of the guys to learn from. You know, if you get a hold of some of them guys like that, they have a lot of knowledge, and the strategies are still there. It's just the numbers are different.
Yeah, what's interesting now is like, now fast forward to now, and let's say you go back then, they didn't have the type of lending that's available now.
Yeah.
Right. And then let's say a decade ago, when the last reset, let's call it, right? You know, the financing was expensive. Let's talk about hard money. We're talking about rates like Daniel knows, because Daniel's been flipping houses for how long? For
15 years about.
Yeah. So rates were like, starting out, we're talking 4 points and 14%.
Yep, I remember.
And you're paying interest on the whole loan.
That was the standard for about a decade.
Yeah.
So now you're coming in at a great time because the money's cheap, and it's just getting cheaper. There's more leverage available, and you know, so it's a great time. The opportunities are going to be there. They're coming. You know, and now you just need to be ready. Just know what's available, what options are available. That's the most important thing. You know, and the lender right now is probably the first person that you really want to build your team, and the lenders like should be the top of your list of your team, because those are the ones that are going to be backing you with the money. And also not only just backing you, but also like with us, we're not just lending money, we're also giving you guidance. You know, we have a whole team. You know, Daniel's here. Daniel has a construction background, doing this for 15 years, flipping houses. So seen it from the last from a decade ago till now, has experience. And you can't buy experience. You know, you learn, you know, and really that's very important. So we give you that guidance. You know, you're not like, I was actually helping out a friend today, a good friend of mine, and he wants to start his first flip. And the reason why he's using us is because of the experience we have, that he's not alone in the deal. You know, that makes sense. So, and
looking at Daniel's having audio issues at the moment, so I guess we can do the deal and then make sure he gets on. So welcome everybody to
Can you hear me?
REIG.
Yeah, we got you now.
Yeah, welcome everybody to CNJ REIG, Central New Jersey Real Estate Investment Group. I'm Scott Forge, and this is Tabitha Forge.
Hello.
Hosts. We're the host for your evening. We run the club. We're going into a couple months. Will be 6 years. We'll be doing this. We'll be going into our 6th year. Coming up this year, we have some new ideas we're going to be bringing out to you. I have to get something done first, and then if everything works out by this time next month, we'll be having some
fun.
Well, not just fun, but some good announcements for everybody that joins our meeting, and you know, have been with us for a while now.
Some different people that are really out there killing it, like anywhere from 500 units and up, and they're doing some stuff. There's movers and shakers that we've been communicating with that want to come and speak. So
Right.
we want to come and bring you guys some good education from people that
Right.
are out there doing it.
Not only that, but things that will help the people in the group.
Mhm.
You know, we have some plans. We have to get some things done over the next couple of weeks. And once we implement that, then we'll see if it comes to fruition the way we want it to. And if it does, then we'll have some really good opportunities for savings and discounts and things like that for
The
everybody.
discounts is the best
Um,
part.
Yeah, we already have discounts with Lowe's. And we are working back with some of the service providers and vendors that we use, and we have additional stuff that we're doing. So
Yeah.
we want
It's
to get that.
additional, if you have the Lowe's cards, just to let you know, if you have the Lowe's cards, our memberships with us, you actually get an additional even after you put it into the pros desk and put it through their discount. Then when your bill comes in, we give you another discount on top of it. So that's what our membership will
Wow.
include.
Yeah. So it's, and it's on any purchase that you make in the store with any product. It's not like,
Limited.
yeah, it's not limited
It's
or,
the whole,
right.
the
And it's not, you
order.
have to spend a certain amount. I mean, yeah, if you buy something for $2, you probably won't see the discount, but you know, if you spend $50, $25 and up, I think you'll see a discount, the additional savings on it. And, you know, you got to buy the products for everything. So you just get to write it off that way and get an additional savings. Plus you build a rapport with the Pro Desk team members, which is great. So when you're doing your projects, you know, they'll sometimes come to your job site for you. So you don't have to go running back
Yep.
and forth to the store for products. You know, they tend to take care of you when you work with them more. So
I've
it's
had
good.
the managers actually pushing my carts and gathering my items when you go for big orders.
Yeah.
It's nice. You get that king treatment. Exactly.
Yeah, it's
No.
always good that way. So we have some stuff coming up that way. I think what's the date is, I always forget the date. It's March 8th, Monday night. We're going to do our second virtual networking event where we have breakout rooms. Adam and some of the guys from Arcad were there the last time when we did it in January. So we're going to do it again in March in you know, 2 weeks, March 8th. And again, we'll have breakout rooms. So you come in, we'll have you do like an elevator pitch, introduce yourself. We're going to take everybody's name and contact information. And when it's done, we'll send it back out to everybody. So you have everybody's information. And this way, if there's people you didn't get a chance to speak to, you'll have that opportunity.
Mhm.
And if not, and if you spoke to them already, then at least you'll be able to get their contact information up front and readily available.
Yeah.
But the breakout rooms are great because you get the opportunity to
Just
isolate
like that,
yourself.
you're at
You
a
know?
networking event from table to
Yeah.
table. You get to actually go from room to room
So-
and introduce yourself to each other.
So we got that going on. And next month we're having a, it's about a business. It's about setting up your business the proper way and having details for your business, for your planning of your business. I think it's information everybody could use for their business, whether you're an individual or you have multiple partners in your business. Make sure you're set up the right way so you don't have problems. One of the things we've done, which we have some people on the call with us, is we formed a company with other people, and we've been going through something, setting up a business charter, a partnership charter with everybody. So it's something that a lot of businesses don't do, and then they have problems later on. So it's a time-consuming process, but well worth it. But when you're done, then you get it all set up because then everybody's on the same page and everybody has the same ideas and worries and everything's
And visions.
visions and everything, and everything is basically in place. So everybody has, it's all up front and there's no worries and there's no anything involved with the,
Not hundreds of thousands of billions of dollars later.
yeah. So it's, you know, something we're doing. So we felt having a guy come
It's
on and
only
talk
showing
about
the
that
speaker
is a good
screen.
idea.
Yeah.
I did speak to somebody. I don't know if anybody's heard of this. I asked a few people last night. Has anybody ever heard of an ICIG? Like I, Charlie, I, Greg. ICIG.
Can't say I have.
Nah, I don't know.
Nobody's ever heard of it? Okay. I thought I was the only one. I was like, man, I never heard of that, man. I've
I
been
don't know,
around for a
how do
while,
you
but
change that?
with that,
What was typed in there in the chat?
I
don't know.
ICIG.
Yep.
Yeah.
it's,
I'm
it's,
Googling it now. Yeah.
yeah, it's a tax-free plan for, short term, so you don't pay any taxes. So it's just something I learned yesterday speaking to somebody. I was like, oh, interesting. So, I might have the guy come on and speak about it if it's worth it or not. I haven't decided that yet. What's this? Facebook
I
Live
don't
is
know
only
how to
showing the
change it.
speaker screen. No need to change, but having multiple view. Oh, it could be the way I'm viewing it. Might be
What's that?
if I do it that way.
Does that change it up? We'll see in
No.
a second. Wait, you got to give it a second
Oh yeah,
because this
delay on
is
Facebook.
a little behind.
There's some people still coming in. Oh, there you go.
There you go. Thank
Okay.
you. Who put that in there? I didn't even get to see.
Joel.
Hi, Joel. Thank you. We didn't know. We're still learning some of the technology here.
Well, we
Joel's amazing. He's,
Nobody said anything until now, so it's not something I didn't think about. So,
Okay.
so the other things we'll get into the meetings. We have other meetings coming up
Oh, yeah,
every
Karen on
last
that.
Wednesday of every month. Educational, and hopefully by May we'll be able to do a live networking event where it'll be in person. We'll see how the weather is and if we can find a facility, because I'm sure with our governor we'll still be kind of in lockdown mode. We're limited spacing, so we'll see if we can find somewhere big enough to accommodate enough people so that we can actually meet in person and see each other face to face instead of through a camera on a computer, you know.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people like me, I'm just tired of this. I need to see people. You know, you feel like you're in like the 23rd century where you never see people. It's always just through a camera, right? You know. So those are things, just keep looking out for what we got to offer and what we're bringing out to you. Next up, as we bring up our vendors, I'm not going to talk about the one tonight because there are actually our
But
speakers.
there's other ones out there that can come up and speak real quick.
Um,
Pull up. I know she's on here, but
yeah, we can have
Daniel speak real quick.
we can have Daniel talk about
All right.
Arcad real quick.
Who are
Arcad
we?
Capital is one of our sponsored vendors.
Yep.
For CNJ or AP. So
Awesome.
Hello, Arcade Capital. Thank you so much for inviting us. This is really Adam's evening. But yeah, I want to join in and show some support and yeah, you know, we again, Arcade Group started off as a flipping company for those who may or may not know. You know, we've been doing all types of real estate for 13 years. You know, we've done everything from your classic, just straight up, you know, cookie cutter flip all the way to mixed use and everything in between. So we've been doing that for a while. And then about, I want to say about 4 years ago now, right, Adam, with Arcade Capital.
Time's flying. Yeah.
Yeah. Really fast. And Mario.
Yeah.
Mario, I, and Adam decided to start a hard money lending company with the goal of really, you know, bringing value to our clients, really, you know, knocking down the rates, knocking down some of the fees, basically all the things that bothered us about other hard money lenders that we were dealing with, because for over a decade, we built our business with hard money, as well as private capital and private investors, but mostly hard money. So we scaled up our entire business through hard money. And that's as what we were talking about before with the rates of 14% at 4 points.
Yep.
We did it with that kind of money, the expensive money. So
yeah,
this can't be done. I mean, you guys are in the best position ever. You know, when we came into the game, we kind of started knocking down rates right away, and some of the garbage fees that were involved with all these hard money lenders. And on top of that, and this just kind of came naturally. You know, again, we offer advisory, and it sounds fancy, but it's really not. You're really getting access to us. I tell people, and I tell our borrowers that we're still small enough that I'll give you my cell number. You know, if you have a question on the deal, if you have a question regarding construction, whatever it is, structuring a deal, you have access to me, Adam, and Mario. And I think that is probably the biggest value of what Arcade Capital can give real estate entrepreneurs. We're trying to create strong entrepreneurs and, quite honestly, long-lasting relationships. You know, we want to create borrowers that are going to come to us 5 years down the road and say, "Hey, I'm doing my first mixed-use building. Lend me money. How do I do it?" You know, and we're doing that. You know, we were lucky enough to have some people that started with us as newbies, we call them, right? And that's a low term. And right now they're hey, they're kicking ass. They're kicking ass. They've scaled up their business. They're doing multiple flips a year. And I have one borrower just a few weeks ago. She called me on her first knockdown, and she was looking at land and subdivisions. I was blown away because that's our very first borrower. And I remember sitting in an office with her and her husband for about 2 hours. I mean, I babied them. And I had the time. I didn't have a lot of clients, and just going through their scope of work and they were just so new, and to see how far they've come. So that's what we're about. I don't want to take up too much time, but that's what we're about. And on top of that, we have great rates and terms. So
And a lot of different
Yeah.
programs, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I
There's
think
another
they-
one we talked to Karen about today that'll be brought up
Same
again.
thing,
guys, so,
subdivision though.
Yeah.
But you got to start a new program for us.
Well,
We
so,
did it-
so
We've done
like,
it to other hard money lenders. It's your turn. We gotta bring you up another scale.
we got to bring up another option, another program for you. But
Yeah.
before we get into that, let's. I don't think they're on, but we have A&A debris removal.
No, they're still in the middle of a
Yeah,
clean
they're
out.
actually in the middle of a clean out, so neither one of them can attend tonight. But there are demo and debris removal clean out company. They have a 20-yard dump truck, not dumpsters. They don't ruin your driveway or your lawns. When you're in urban areas, you don't have to worry about a permit for a dumpster. They just pull up, they come in, they'll demo or just do clean outs and remove the debris. Their labor's included
With
in
the
the price.
Yep.
And the dumping fee is included with the price. So it's not like, oh, I'm getting a dumpster for $400. Great. Now you got to hire laborers and pay the dumping fees on top of that, right? So, it's something I always tell people, like, listen, we had a project. It wasn't even it wasn't even ours. The person next door had a dumpster company come and they wrecked our driveway.
I
on the
won't
project we were
mention
doing.
Mesa by any chance.
But we were like, this is why we don't use dumpster companies, because you just trash your driveway, trash your yard. The drivers they don't care because it's not their house or their project. They're just there
Or
to
their
pick up and drop
property.
off. So they're good. They're licensed. They're registered. They're insured. And they do free estimates. So if you need them, you just give them a call. And that's A&A debris removal. And then we have Team Villa Homes, or Team Villa, New Jersey, I believe it is, with Derek Logan. He's an REO broker, REO agent, more like a broker. I mean, he should be running the shop because he's been doing REO properties for over 30 years in one form or another. Was in all kinds of real estate besides just selling it. He did clean outs, he did debris removal and things like that years ago. So his team is good. He's been around for a long time. They'll walk you through the process of an auction property. They'll walk you through the process of a purchase. They're in REOs, so that's their specialty. But if you want them to go through the purchase of a property that's on the regular MLS, they'll help you with that. And everybody here, like I know Derek has been talking with Arcad, and they have something going on together where I like that. It's like, it's all about, like Daniel said, it's about relationship building. So
Yep.
That's what we're all about. You come, you build your relationships, and that's how you get your business growing and moving forward in the right direction and expanding and getting to where you need to be. Or if you decide to change, you still have people here that can help you go in a different direction. And that's what it's all about, is coming out, meeting people, talking, and building your relationship with quality people so you can build your business up.
So with that,
Okay, with that, let's get into the topic. So tonight's topic is leveraging your capital / funding, however you want to call it,
Yep.
so that you can get more to do more deals. I know in the past I've looked at it and other people look at it and they're looking at other people going, man, that guy's doing like 5, 6, 7 deals at one time. How is he doing it? Like, I can't afford to do one, or I can only get the funding for one, but I got an opportunity over there. Where do I get the funding to get that? I got to pass up on these deals. How can I get more funding, capital? Like, who do I talk to?
we've
Where does
done
that come
that,
from?
been there. We missed
Yeah,
for $9,000 because we were in the middle of a project and we used our own money back when we first started.
Yep.
So we've learned.
and so that's why I talked with Adam about this last year, and I said, he brought up, he said, I think that would be a good topic. I said, that would be a great topic, leveraging your capital. Most people may have heard about it, and if they have, they don't know how to do it, and others don't even know what we're talking about right now. So that's why I said, let's get this topic started. And it's a great topic for everybody out there because it's something that'll help your business scale, right?
Yep. So we're introducing.
Where we got Adam Levine from Levine Capital
Yay!
/ Arcade Capital. And
No. Forget Levine Capital. Arcade Capital.
Okay, Arcade Capital. Okay.
Okay.
Arcade Capital.
Yay!
No, but it's not. Look, it's not just me. But we're a team.
Right, and we have Daniel Rivera. He's
Daniel's
from
there.
Arcade Capital, one of his
Karen's
partners.
there. Mario.
Mario, I seen pop on. He's here somewhere. He's the other partner. So there's 3 years that
Yay.
started Arcade Capital, right?
Yes, there are 3 partners. And again, thank you for having us on here. And I appreciate you, Scott, reaching out to me. And we're a team effort, so that's why Mary reached out to me saying, "Hey, do you need me on here?" It's like, come join. I'm not the only one. I'm not the one running the show. It's a team effort, so I don't take all the credit. It's a team effort. Everybody, we work as a team, and that's the thing, But yeah. So I remember, Scott, we were talking the last event because the last event was about private money. And really, I was just like, I don't understand, why would someone taking some private money from some investor and use that money, all that money on one house? Why can't you leverage that with us or another lender, right? And that's what kind of the light bulb went off with. This could be another topic, and that's how it all started.
Well, it's an absolute reason why, because
Yep.
most people do that. I got a private lender. He funds this one deal, and I'm great. But now I got to look for other private lending to try and get another deal. And it's like, well, you need to leverage your capital so that you can do more than one deal, right? So
How do we?
how does it work? Like, what do we explain what we're talking about here when we talk about leveraging your private lender's money?
It's very simple. And I'm sure Mario and Daniel they've been doing this for years, and they have experience flipping houses themselves, but I'll just give it at a real high level view, and then we can go into more detail. Basically, you take these courses, they're probably teaching you, I have this book, No Money Down, right? It's from the 80s. Nothing's changed from the 80s till now. It's all the same. The only difference is the money's changed, the private or hard money's changed dramatically. Basically what happens is you have a private investor. It could be a high net worth investor, doctor, whatever it is, they have a lot of money. And these are your private lenders, right? Now, what happens is, let's say you have a house. Let's keep the number simple, $100,000, right? You're going to borrow money from that doctor. So, doctor, whatever, Joe Schmo, whatever their name is, right? And you're going to borrow money from them to buy this house. You're going to give them a promissory note. You're going to give them a mortgage or a trustee, depending upon what state you're in. Okay. Let's say it's a judicial state, New Jersey. Then it'll be a mortgage, right? A promissory note. They're your private lender. They're going to give you the money. They'll give you, let's say the house is $100,000 all in, acquisition, construction, right? Just keep it like that. Very simple. They'll give you the money, right? But the question is, why would you tie up all that whole $100,000 on one house? Why would you do that? It's silly. You're taking more risk with that investor because you're tied up all that money in the house, and you're limiting that money. Instead, you could use that money, right? And you could borrow 90% of it. We'll give you 90% of the money, right? And then you could use that money to borrow and buy other houses. So that's very simple. And I'll let Daniel, he could probably explain more as well, chime in a little bit more. Or I think Mario's here as well.
I mean, again, just looking at it as a simple standard mortgage, you need 20% down, right? Let's say if you're just buying your own house, right? So what if you wanted to buy 5 houses and you only had $100,000? Well, it's 20% on each one. That's super simple, So yeah, instead of investing the whole nut into one property, you're just breaking it up into pieces, and you're borrowing and you're using those smaller pieces to put down payments on more houses, basically. So you're splitting it up. Of course, your deal has to work with all the interest and everything that has to go to. So you're analyzing the deal a little differently. But if you know what you're doing and you're buying at the right numbers, then it should all work out. Again, know your construction, know your timelines, know all that good stuff. But it all kind of works the same.
Exactly. And let's say another example. Let's say I was talking to another client or a new potential client, and he was referred to us, and basically he has equity in his house, and he's like, look, it's gonna take a while for me to pull the equity out, or whatever it is, and I was like, well, and because he said usually he uses that money to fund his deals, right? I was like, well, it was his first time ever using private money or hard money, right? And the thing was, I was like, did you know you could actually use that instead of tying up all your money, your equity line, or I think it was a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, which is basically open end financing. You can pull from it and pay it back as you go. And basically, he had no idea that you could actually use that money as like your down payment money, maybe cover some interest, maybe cover contingencies, and then leverage a lender like us, right? And then it allows you to scale up because you don't have to tie up all that money. You could do more deals. So there's different ways you could be creative with this. You could be creative with private investors, private lenders. Like it could be someone on here, maybe someone in this group could lend money to each other, or it could be equity in your house, right? So these are and right now you're coming at a good time because money is cheap. I mean, Daniel, you want to show them the rates that we have? It's unbelievable. We just lowered our rates actually recently.
Yeah.
They're lower yet? Oh, I'm definitely filling out the paperwork.
Yeah, the rates are how low can you go? It's not going to go that low, but right now they're about almost half of what they traditionally have been in the past 10 years. If you include the points and everything. And just what you were saying before, Scott, this usually happens. Let's say a newbie investor gets in, they always start with the one house, right? And they find out how to get the money, and they find the money, and they do the one house, and then they go, oh wow, that was great. If it works out for them, they want to do it again, so they do it again. Usually when they get to like the third one, and they're really looking, right? So now they're marketing, they're networking, and all of a sudden they have two deals. They have two deals in front of them. And they go, okay, well, I could take down this one or this one, but they're both good. So what do? Well, you wholesale one and you let somebody reap the rewards of that other deal. I mean, you could do that, but you don't always want to do that. And usually by your third one, fourth one, fifth one, let's say, you have enough experience, and then you go, I think I could do two at the same time. I think I'm good enough, right? I have Scott in my corner. He does it. He builds stuff out for me. I'll do this one. Scott will do the other one, right? And so you start figuring things out. You grow as a business owner. So all of a sudden, what I do? I still have the same money, or I made money, so I got a little more in the bank. But man, do I want to risk it all now? Yep. No. Why? Why? You leave some money in the bank. You made that money. Now take pieces of it. Come to a lender like us or another lender. It's okay. And get a loan for the construction and the house. 6 months later, you're doing the same thing. And then you take down both. See if you can figure that out. Hopefully within a few years, you'll after about a year, Mario and I were doing, 10, 15 deals, and we were kind of like we went really fast, and we always had this vision that we wanted to do so many houses, and we wanted to build this and skyscrapers and everything else. So we kind of learned that early. We learned that earlier than the average bear, I guess.
He wants to build a skyscraper.
Well, not yet.
Hey, but guess what? You guys, it all starts with flipping one house.
Exactly.
Yeah. This I was gonna ask because I know some people may be hung up. I mean, I know I've had that come across with me where a lender asked, well, you need to have that money sitting in your account for a certain amount of time. Is that the same with you guys?
No, we don't require. We don't have seasoning requirements.
Yeah,
we're not a bank.
Traditional lenders, like a bank, your regular old bank, will have that requirement. But I mean, that's what makes hard money. You're going to pay a little bit more in interest. All right, let's just face it. Hard money is more expensive, but there's a lot of benefits to it. And some of the benefits are the fact that, one, you're going to be able to close super fast. Two, we're not going to climb up every crevice of your body for your financial life, right? We're not asking for tax returns. We're basing it on mostly the deal itself.
Okay.
The biggest part of the equation is, do you have a deal? Do you have a deal? Can you take this loan out, get it done? Is your construction correct? Are your dollar amounts correct? Do you have the ability to get it done in the time frame you need to get it done in? If you could answer those three questions, and your credit isn't in the toilet, I mean, credit counts, but I mean, not as much, right? You could be in the low sixes and get it done. Without,
What's the lowest the credit could be?
what's 630, I think is about as low.
620. And we things look. I always have to cross check because things change overnight. Like rates
Yeah,
change, like the market changes. So,
And
but
listen, like everybody else, the better credit, the better rate, the better the house, the better
But sometimes it could be like it's really like we value experience, so we could kind of offset it with experience.
Correct.
We could kind of make exceptions depending upon the deal and the experience level.
And honestly, we care about experience more than everything else. Deal's number one, experience is number two. So we'll do a newbie deal, but you're going to pay more, of course, for that. By the time you get to your third deal, and we tell everybody that, just count it down. By the time you're on your third deal, you will get the best rates possible.
Yeah, your experience at
We're
that
not
point,
there
right?
yet.
So if you're,
Yeah.
so what if you're new and you partner with somebody that's experienced? How does that help you get the funding at a better rate or better, more of it? Would that help somebody?
And
Absolutely.
second question, do you count both people's credits, like the newbie's credit and the experienced credit?
Yeah.
That way.
So I can answer the first one, and then I'll let Daniel, or it doesn't matter. But to answer your question, the first one was if the question was, first one was can they leverage a newbie leverage someone's experience?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And actually, you know, I had this conversation a lot with people that are new. I said it's probably more advantageous for someone that's new, especially if you're doing a fix and flip, because the most risk is in construction. But another benefit is that you get more leverage. So let's say you have someone that has 3 deals or more, you know, you're going to get more leverage. So you get to put less money in. You're going to have a cheaper rate, and you're also going to be able to mitigate your risk because you're going to be working with someone that has experience. And the most risk comes in. I mean, obviously you want to buy right, but then you're dealing with construction. And look, let's face it, you're going to go over budget. It's just how much you're going to go over, and you're going to be dealing with a lot of different contractors. And I'll let Daniel explain that a little bit more, and then I'll let you, Daniel, answer the second one, or you could elaborate more.
Yeah, I mean, we do look at both credit, but I mean, if you have somebody with a high credit score, it offsets it. That's
Actually, you know what? I'll give you an interesting example. I have 2 people, right? Actually, we're going to be pulling their credit tomorrow. One has like a 720, one has, I think, more than 750, right? What's interesting is that they're beginners. They never flipped a house. But because of the one partner has I believe it's 750 or more, we give them, instead of having to put 20% down the purchase, they only have to put down 15% on their first deal.
Nice.
So we gave them a 5% increase in leverage because of that
Right.
higher credit score.
Yeah.
So it does help.
So it does count, absolutely. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, we encourage partnerships, especially if you're a newbie. You don't have to. I mean, you could get a deal done on your own, excuse me, and you're still going to get a better rate than I got on my first deal
Yeah.
being back in the days. I mean, let's
14%.
so again, 4%. Now, as a newbie, you can get something done at 12% too. So,
But it's still good, because the difference between then and now also is, back then, like you guys had said, you're talking for annual, and it didn't matter when you finished the project, you had to pay that total percentage. Now, if you get it done before a year, it's whatever you got it done by. So that reduces the amount of interest you're paying because you got it done in a quicker time frame.
Absolutely.
That's a good point, actually, that I just, the light bulb went off, which is really interesting. is that sorry, but I just had it on before I forget, is that exactly, you're not paying interest on the money. So for example, right, let's say you have a total, like, go back to the 100,000, keep numbers simple, right? Let's say the acquisition is 20,000, we give you, and we have 70,000 in construction holdback, right? Well, guess what? That 70,000, let's say you use the 20,000, we give you initial release of 20,000 to buy that property. That 70,000 that's held back here, you're not paying interest on it, right? In fact, if you have private capital, let's say you have a equity line of credit from your house. Let's say you have a private investor, you can use that money and never touch our money. That money, you don't have to touch that 70,000, and it doesn't matter, right? So that's yeah.
Good.
Right. So I hope everybody caught that because that's really important, and it's also something that a lot of other lenders don't do. And there's actually a term for it. It's called a full boat interest. Okay, so you take out the loan and you get your construction loan, and you pay interest from day one on the whole enchilada, right? And you know, and that hey, you know, it's been done for years that way. But it doesn't have to be done that way. As a hard money lender, you don't really have to do that. It was actually a choice for lenders to do that, and we decided from the get go that we would not. So for the most part, and I would say for the most part, because there are caveats to everything. Sometimes there's special circumstances, special loans, special what have you. And we have done loans where people do have to pay the interest on the construction. But for the vast majority of our loans, and I'm talking like 99% of them, it is not full boat. We actually have borrowers that don't even use the construction fund sometimes. They just get it done and they have a construction contingency there, and then they get the project done and they never borrow the money and they never pay interest on the construction money because they never use it. So the minute you take out a draw, then you start paying interest on that extra money. So
I have a question because I mean, this is like many years ago. When we did one of our projects, we borrowed hard money. It was before we even knew you guys. So we borrowed the hard money, but we actually borrowed $50,000 more to make the payments to itself for the whole year. Do you have a program that does something like that? If there's enough meat on the bone?
yeah,
Just wondering.
absolutely. We call it perks. I'll let Adam get into that a little bit, but we do have it. And quite honestly, with the pandemic, there are some loans where we actually we have to add it as a safety mechanism. You know, you have to have interest reserves built into the loan. It really depends again on the deal, the credit, the experience, everything. But that's what you get with us. There's like multiple ways to skin a cat, right? So a lot of people come to us and they say, well, how do I put this together? And we say, well, this is how you can put it together. This is what you need to do. You are going to have interest reserves, but remember, that's money that should be going into the deal anyway. You're just kind of guaranteeing that it's going to get paid, right? And
Yeah.
we do have, and this is not for everybody, but if you're a borrower, a repeat borrower, and you've done a good business with us, yeah, we can offer perks which will cover interest, or it can cover your down, you know, it could cover different expenses. A lot of people do use it for interest reserves if they need it.
Yeah, and one thing, the reason why we kind of like the interest reserve thing, and pardon me, I just realized my math was wrong. It's I was doing the math wrong when I said 100,000. It's really 80, 20, and then 80.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I thinking? And I realized that they're going back. They're going back. Yeah. So the perks are like, so we do like 6-9 months, and to us, we like that risk because we're just paying ourselves. You know, we're saying, hey, we'll give you a micro loan, and you know, basically, we still have a senior loan, meaning the senior loan is the first lien, and then we'll just attach a second lien, which is the micro loan that covers your debt service. These are small loans. It could be 15 grand, it could be 10 grand, 12 grand, whatever it is. It's a micro loan where it just covers your basically your interest payments for like 6, 9, maybe a year. And basically we're paying ourselves basically.
Yeah.
So you're leveraging it using your money with it, and then we can leverage it even more if we have the private lender's money to do other things too.
Yeah, absolutely. So and what's really nice is like, so another good thing is if you're dealing with private investors, your private investor probably would feel more comfortable working with a lender that's more experienced, and also you're mitigating the risk because I've seen it happen where borrowers come to us from other lenders because the lender never reviewed their budget, never reviewed their scope of work, their draws, and then they're stuck. And now they come to us because they need us to basically take them out of that other loan and give them a new loan, and that's because you know.
Not
So
always able
yeah,
to be done, but you know,
yeah,
vultured the deal, and then they come to us, and it was such a good deal that we can still take them out of it and make something happen. You know, so we're basically refining out. We do a decent amount of refis on other hard money loans, believe it or not.
Yeah, we know.
yeah, and
Yeah.
another thing too is you're mitigating.
$500,000 worth, we know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know you're one of our first loans. That's a whole story. That was an interesting loan. That was a nice loan, and
Yeah.
I was very privileged just to help you with that. Or driving to your.
It was, yeah, that was a little bit chaotic,
That's-
but we got through it, right?
Yeah, that's one thing. That's what we like. ARCAD, these guys here are family-like. Once
Yeah.
you're there, I mean, me and Adam sat on the floor of another project, going through some of the papers so that
Yeah.
we had it done right. And within, I think it was 17 days, the whole refinancing was done.
They were just trying to figure out the expenses
Yeah.
on it, so it was just like,
Okay. Bookkeeping is not my strong point.
It's all
Give me
right.
a sledgehammer and a sawzall, I'm good.
No, it's fine. It's look,
Not
a
the
lot of
little secretary.
we know how contractors are. They're good at construction, but maybe they whatever. It's fine.
but you
Hey,
guys
we
were
got
involved-
done.
with that, just that experience was just like, man, you guys, actually, you're
Yeah.
one of the owners, one of the founders of the company. You came out to a job site to go through paperwork.
To
I'm
help
not gonna
me.
see that from another lender. They're not gonna
Yeah.
send one of the owners out to go through this to help a potential client or a client get a deal done or an opportunity done. You know, somebody else may come out, or it might just be a phone call and paperwork being shuffled back and forth, but
Send
to
a
take your
secretary.
time out to come out and help us go through the documents to figure out what the hell it was and what we needed to have
To
it
get it done.
show to get the deal done was, you know, a great experience. And that's why we're always like, ARCAD's great and people need to come to you guys because you're like that. You're personal, you get involved, you know, you're local, you can go to their office and hang out and not chew the fat with them, but talk business and the shop directly with you guys. And if not, you got Karen, she's wonderful, great, you know, so everybody there, it's like great people to talk to and work with, so.
But that's it.
Thank you.
They
Thank you.
came out, you did that while we were at another project, so you refinanced our loan out, so all those private lenders that we had in that, I could use that again. So.
Perfect. There you go. Boom.
Hi, everyone.
Free up
Oh, yeah,
that-
we had the
Mario showed
third
up.
one here.
Hi.
Keep it sitting down there.
Yeah. Been hanging back.
Passing by, got home a little later, went out back. Thank you guys for having us as always. And I just so happened to walk in on the Princeton property story.
Yeah. This-
And I remember the day. I remember exactly the day when we wanted to figure out exactly what the already completed costs were.
Yeah,
And it wasn't easy math, right? How do you figure out how much work you've done to a house, a project that's going on for so long? So I remember all of us, even from the construction end, scratching our heads. And it got to a point where we're like, listen, you know, there's really just one way to figure this out. Like we gotta see everything they got. We gotta not only know the property, we gotta look at their budgets. We gotta sit down and go through their paperwork. Just let's get everything they have.
it was just back like that.
Basically, I'm there pulling invoices
Yeah.
of paid for like materials. Okay, I gotta validate this vendor here and this paid invoice, dollar for dollar, everything.
Yeah.
And you're taking this and uploading it into Dropbox or Google, whatever we're
He
using.
was clicking and going. I go.
I had to create folders for everything. I
There
organized
you
it.
go.
Everything was organized perfectly.
I'm really glad those are the stories already, right? Like we're already going back to like, I remember when we first started, we're running around to on the border, taking pictures of receipts. We had to validate. So everyone that's listening understands, I guess, the mechanics behind it. It gets a little complex on that particular scenario because, yeah, like Dan and Adam mentioned, we do a lot of that, right? We come through. we call it the come through loans, where people, borrowers, investors need to get out of whatever loan they have for whatever reason it is, and there's so many reasons. Whenever that situation happens, the clock is ticking, right? So the ability to be able to pay that loan off and furthermore, step two, still
Yep.
finish the project is crucial, I believe, for any real estate investor, right? Any project. And old terminology, ugly term is bailout loans, right? They're bailouts. You're coming to bail somebody out. And but look, point of the matter is, as real estate investors, we've been there. We know exactly what that feels like. We know exactly what when there's the little air in the room, and you're against the wall, and you need to get out of a project. You need to not even get out. You need to restructure, because that's what it is.
You
It's a
need to
financial
push
You
it
need to get
forward.
out so you could get to the next one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need to push
That's
it
what I,
correct. You need to push it forward.
while I was in the middle of another one.
A $500,000 project, that's no easy task. So
Yeah.
so look, bottom line is having the ability to come through again for investors is something that we take pride on, because again, we have been in that position, and we know what it's like to
Oh,
be
yeah.
able to get a little bit of air when it's needed, right? So we do a lot of that, and just like we did for you guys, we figure out the ins and the outs of what's already been completed. And for those listening, so you understand, it, every single and banks use this as well, credit unions use this as well. Any type of cash out, anytime you already own a property and you're going to a bank for the rest of the financing, whether it's construction or takeout, you're always gonna have to validate these things, and these are your expenses, from your soft to any. But for the most part, your soft and part of your hard cost, whatever money you spend in a commercial deal, for example, getting it to approvals, in a fix and flip, whatever money you spend, getting it to whatever stage the property is at, is dollar for dollar validation. So if you spend $250,000, and you still need another 100,000, I want to validate all those 250 so I can refinance and pay all those 250 off, so it's not part of your debt anymore. So
Right.
literally every single receipt that Adam took a picture of and scanned, translated into the monetary amount that they were able to cash out on that loan.
Correct.
And then there was more, right? There was still like $90,000, $80,000 in construction.
Yeah, I think there was. I think it was. I don't remember what percentage. It was almost done. The house. I remember it was pretty much.
Yeah, it was on the market.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, right.
yeah,
So,
we were finished.
We were finished and we just had to
Right.
get our private lender out, and we were like, okay.
And
Right,
we'll
one
move
of
on.
on that end, one of the prettiest scenarios, right? Where right now we're dealing with a lot of I have no more money to finish the project situations.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm still halfway through. I'm 60% done. I'm 80% done. In fact, I don't know if Dan brought it up, but we just purchased a commercial building a few weeks back that was 80% completed.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, situations are different. This man's access to financing, in many ways, was limited. Different way of thinking. He was one of those cash builders.
underestimate.
Right.
Yeah.
So for the last 10 years, he invested his cash into building this ground up new construction building, on a piece of land that I believe he inherited from his father. And he got it to where, to the 80%, and was not able to. I mean, COVID came, hit his business, hit everything in his life, really.
Yeah.
And he wasn't able to get back up, right? So when we brought up the possibility of financing, to him was almost like, wow, like that's, like
No more, no more.
I don't need it anymore. like it's just like, I just need to get out of this building, like, can you buy it? Like, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't want it anymore. Just take it.
Yeah. So I guess the ability of knowing when to plug those, when to pull those triggers is super important. Look, I don't want to take the show, and I just want to really a lot of
This is good info. So this is good.
the biggest I guess nugget I want to leave you guys behind is something that I actually spoke about a couple of days back on Ryan's podcast, which was a similar topic to this, and I'm glad this is the topic that's up in the air. I'm glad people are getting educated on this, because this is many may agree, some may not understand it enough to agree, but this is the topic that propels your business. Knowing how to leverage money, specifically OPM, right? If it's yours, great, but if it's investors' money, even better, right? So, but being able to master that, and I don't mean just the raising the money. I don't mean the ooh rah rah of I can make you a return and I can pay you, like that's a given, right? We're all going to do that. We're all going to get rid of that. I'm talking about the behind the scenes structure. I'm talking about you understanding, the package that you're putting forward, and how you can again leverage, at this particular point, not only the OPM from your private investor, as Adam and Dan mentioned, can cover down payment, closing costs, and everything else. But you can now leverage the benefit of having a relationship with a private with a private lender, like in our case, like Arca Capital, or an equity fund, or whomever, or a bank, whichever example you want to use. In this particular case, a private lender, a hard money lender, and the relationship that you have. More importantly, the approval that you have from this lender. You're leveraging you're leveraging the relationship that you have with this lender. You're leveraging the approval that you have from this lender on the other 80% to negotiate the terms of the private equity piece, to negotiate the terms with your private investor. I know. Let me just roll it all back in. So it's all. This is how it goes. The idea here is for you not only to leverage the money that's coming for the down payment from your private investor, but to also leverage the fact that you are now, or would be, an approved borrower with valid proof of funds in your hand that says that Arca Capital will finance 80% or 90%, wherever you fit, 90% of the money that you need to buy this property. So in all reality, all you need is 10% from the investor. You've already figured out the other 90%, and that is leverage. So why is this important? This is how it comes full circle. This is important because you now can go back to the same investor, or better yet, other investors, more investors, and leverage Arca Capital, leverage the brand, leverage the money, leverage the relationship, leverage the process, leverage absolutely everything. But now you're coming with paper in hand. You're coming with a piece of paper that says that we're willing to pay, to lend you 80% of what you need. So,
and I'm willing to let you in on this.
right. So
yeah,
I'm willing to bring you in.
Go on.
Right? So it gets really cool, and it gets technical, but and look, we can answer these questions during. We'll figure this out. But I just really, I put the value forward the other day, and I really feel that, I mean, you've been with us forever. We've been writing together forever, and if I'm gonna give stuff like this out, I feel like this is the right platform to do it. So, I hope whomever's listening, I hope you implement it, and I hope you benefit from this as much as we have. The idea is for you to, first of all, you get approved by a lender, by a reputable lender, by a Harmony lender. That approval is going to come to you from our case, in our example, in a PDF format on an email saying, "Hooray, you're approved," and this is how much money we're willing to put on the table for you. From this money, the only thing you need to worry about is your 10%. So what we've guided some investors to do is to take that POF, the approval funds, that approval letter, and to go back to their investors, to go back to their private lenders, and to tell them, first of all, understand your position, right? You're not coming up with all the money. You're coming up with 10, perhaps 20% plus closing costs. So you're not a majority portion of this deal. The reason you're doing this is simply because you want to establish that you're not going to give out you're not going to give the house away, right? You're going to pay your investor a reasonable return. You're going to, perhaps, if you're willing, you're going to cut him into the action. You're going to give him a percentage of the profits. But you have 80% of the pie figured out. Okay. So now let's get to the next technical level. So needless to say, this helps you negotiate better terms, negotiate better rates, extensions, so on and so forth. Now, here's the really cool and technical part. And this is something that you're really just going to hear. I mean, I've never heard it from any lender. You're going to hear it from us tonight. And please keep this in mind. General rule of banking, financing, mortgaging. We do not care in this, credit unions, banks, very similar. In our case, we do not care about anyone that owns anything less than 15% of the LLC. Okay. Save that for a second. one thing you have to understand about leveraging money against hard money lenders or banks is that general rule of thumb is we do not allow secondary financing. So in other words, you're going to be signing papers that are going to say that you cannot take a second lien, or at the very least, you cannot take a second lien on record. You cannot record
Okay.
something else behind us. So, and that's something you're always going to run into. Want to make sure that I put that out there because it is not as simple as people think it is. So,
Yeah.
Right.
So
So
what do
you
you
can't-
do with your private lender if they want a note, if they want to record a note that just, so how would that work if you want to leverage their money with yours? What do we do?
so you don't record a note. The note is very troublesome for multiple reasons, and it's really, you can have a note, you can have some type of agreement, but you cannot have anything encumber in title. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna actually give them the security through the membership on the LLC. In other words, you're gonna make your private investor a partner. You're gonna make him a minority owner of your LLC, and that minority stake has got to remain under 15%. Why? Biggest reason is, well, biggest reason out of the whole thing is really because you don't want to give up a whole lot of equity in your deal, right? But from a financing standpoint, if they do not own more than 15% of the LLC, they will not be holding a personal guarantee. So in other words, what I'm telling you is by you offering 15% or less of your LLC stake, of the LLC, you're giving them the security that you're not going to disappear. They are owners of the LLC just like you are. In order for you to sell something, you will need their signature. They are just as relevant as you are within that LLC, but they are not holding any of the liability for the mortgage you took out to do this flip. So it's almost like the best of both worlds. They have the security that they need, that you're not going to screw them over. In fact, within your operating agreement, you can have structures where you can put certain limits where if the minority partner doesn't feel comfortable, he can become a majority partner. I mean, there's all kinds of triggers that can happen. But overall, you are still part of the LLC. You're an owner. So by you not taking, by you being the investor, and you're raising capital from this person, you're giving them the best of all worlds. You're giving them the security that they need, because now they're owners, just like you. You are giving them the reliability that you're not going to go anywhere, and more importantly,
You're
they're
using
not
all their
giving you reliability for the deal, right?
And you're not using all their money. You're using a
So how about when you're going to leverage this? Now you're going to leverage the money. I'm going to come in. I'm going to fill out forms. Do you prefer it to be in LLCs or personal
Or
or
LLC.
land trust? What about
or a
land
regular
trust?
trust.
A trust. Yeah,
Right.
not a land trust. That's the other one. A trust.
We don't get too many land trusts.
Yeah.
It's always LLC.
Right.
LLC.
LLCs, even
So-
newbies.
No, it's always, we're never doing it under a personal name, and why would you? Because
The risk.
It's
Yeah,
risk, right?
Most of the time, we're training people to do LLCs. You know, when they start scaling up and they go, oh, now I'm doing 2-3 properties, and okay, so you have an LLC set up. Yeah, it's the same one I had when I first started. Like, no, you got 3 properties in one LLC. Why are you doing that? You know, you're just ruining all the protections of the LLC or folding things onto each other, and something goes wrong with this one. Now this one's at risk. And then sometimes they have, you know, mama and daddy's money or Uncle Ben's money in the deal. And all of a sudden, you know, so we're educating them and saying, hey, you know, for couple $100, just set up a new LLC for this property. You know, you don't just keep them all separate. It'll be worth your while. Nothing will happen for 5 years, and that one thing will happen that all of a sudden you have like 5 houses and one LLC, and some jerk is trying to sue you for.
Yeah, a whole enchilada gone.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
does it matter where you form your LLC? Because one of the banks that we're dealing with right now, they're actually giving us a hard time because of where one of our LLCs is.
Really?
Yes.
But where's the location? Delaware,
Delaware.
Nevada?
Nevada.
Well, we have actually
We have one in almost every state.
LLCs that are members of the LLC that
Yeah.
we're working to get a
It's for the apartment complexes.
Right.
So there's
So
5.
it really
We have all ones that own the big mother
They're all members of the
headquarters,
big
but the
one,
mother
yeah.
headquarters, the banks are giving us a hard time because of where it's at.
Oh, because
So-
there's too
What about
many,
you guys?
there's too many layers.
Yeah, so
Hot
so
to
to answer
that.
the question, to answer your question, at a really high level view, people, if you have partnerships and you're dealing with a lot of people, eventually you're gonna get sued. Just the nature of it, even if you did nothing wrong, But
Yeah.
people like to form Delaware because there's more protection. They're faster in Delaware. It doesn't get held up in the legal system like New Jersey and incur costs. So we go to Delaware.
They
there's
have
more-
Nevada and Utah,
It
right?
was liability. Remember we looked into this for the PPM. Adam?
Wyoming.
It's my understanding. The biggest difference is liability on personal liability on money on losses,
Sure.
right? So I believe in Delaware, there is less recourse for an investor, let's say in your company, to actually be able to collect any money if the LLC goes belly up. If it closes, there's no recourse. That's what it was.
Now we're getting into
and
different.
it's
No,
also-
but I just
it's
want to know
also-
if you guys, does it matter if where you have your LLC? I just want to ask
No,
because
no.
I ran into the situation, so I'm asking
We-
because other
we
people may
haven't-
run into it and want to know and are afraid to ask.
So, that's actually a good question. We haven't ran into any problems yet.
We've never had a problem with where the LLC is. In a way, though, it sounds like, and I'm just guessing here, but it might be the fact that there are multiple layers of LLCs, and all of a sudden you have different levels of risk, right? Because it isn't just one company. You have this partnership, that's a partnership with another partnership, and maybe that's what's affecting your financing. It's a guess. Are you sure it's because of the location of the LLC and not the formation and the setup and the layers of the corporate layers involved with it? You might want to find that out. That might be why. You might have to simplify it. Simplify.
Show them an org chart. Sometimes these banks. My friend actually had a problem. He's a syndicator. He's one of our borrowers. They were trying to do a deal, and they were going to a local bank. And I originally told him, "This is not a bank deal. This is a large construction budget.
Right.
You need to come to us, a bridge lender."
Right.
Yeah.
Like a long story short, he listened to me, but it wasn't a good deal. But the problem was the bank didn't understand a syndication, and they had to show the bank the org chart, and all the way they set up. So a lot of times you just deal with someone that doesn't understand how
Yeah.
this works.
So, Rich, by the way, go
Sometimes
ahead, Daniel.
I'm sorry, dear. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I couldn't hear.
Sometimes you got to look at it, and I tend to look at things, try to simplify it to its most basic atom, right? And sometimes it's just a matter of if it's too complicated, and you're a bank and you're a lender, and you go, well, this setup is very complicated, so if something goes wrong, who do I go after? Right? That's really the bottom line. It's like, I don't know who to go after. Do I go after you? Do I go after everybody? That was protected over there. Oh, this guy's in a trust. You know what? No, I can't do this. Simplify your corporate structure so I can lend to that entity, and then we'll be okay. That's really, what it really comes down to,
Yeah.
And have a good attorney too. Representing you. So you don't want to go cheap with attorneys. That's another
Yeah.
rule.
No, you
Yeah,
could
you go
get yourself
cheap.
in trouble.
Yeah, we've done that on a closing, and it wound up being a headache just for a closing.
But you said bridge loan. That's using bridge loan. Just for some people that might not know, what exactly is a bridge loan and how can you use that?
It's a loan used to build bridges.
Well,
What
I
kind of
need one
bridges?
from here to Florida. Can we do it?
No, you need an escalator loan. No, I'm kidding.
So
Dad joke, lender joke.
yeah, so bridge loan. I mean, there's multiple ways you could use it. It could be one to just buy something because it's temporary, where it's transactional. You need to buy this until you could line up other financing. Another scenario is maybe you want to buy something to sell without construction. Another way is the deal we're talking about is a mixed use building, residential, retail, where it had a large construction budget. So they wanted to buy it. And then it was actually, they're looking for like a mixed use, a multifamily bridge, but this is a mixed use building. The majority of the building was residential. But to keep it very simple, it was for the acquisition and construction monies. and then we'll fund that, and then they're going to refinance into a long-term loan. Very simple. That was
I'll give you even simpler, right? It's called a bridge because it bridges you from where you are to where you want to be.
Right.
Where you want to be may not necessarily end up being, let's say, the full construction loan deal type, finished product, but it can potentially get you from right now to purchasing the property. And once you own the property, maybe you can structure a different type of financing. For the purposes of hard money, for the purposes of houses, a hard money loan is a bridge loan. It's a 12-month loan that gets you from not owning a house to owning a house, fixing a house, and that's it. So it bridges you to the finished product.
that's perfect.
Rid of
And
it.
a lot of people like to use complicated scenarios. Look, this is not rocket science. So everybody out here that we've been doing this for a long time, so it's kind of comes off. And if you have a question, feel free to like slow us down a little bit. But this is not rocket science. Don't need to overcomplicate this stuff. It really is not that.
A lot of people call us and will say, "Oh, you need a bridge loan." They go, "What?"
Exactly. What do you mean bridge loan? I'm not buying a bridge. I'm not building a bridge.
I mean, we
And
have-
now we have something. Now we have something called a fix-it flip loan. It's the same thing. A bridge. It's a hard money loan. It's a private loan.
Right.
These are just different names for the same thing. It's the same goal, the same type of loan. It's really
Yeah,
what it
no,
is.
I had someone I talked to who they were asking about our new construction loans, which we have, and we call them ground up, right? So the term from our end is ground up, but also as builders, we've always called them new construction. It's this weird world between the two of them. And the guy was like, "Hey, you guys, I know you guys do do new construction." So I was like, "Yeah, we do a ton of ground up ourselves, and we lend on it." And he was just like, yeah, no, but do you do new construction? Oh, yeah, we do new
Yeah.
construction. We absolutely do.
It all depends on who you're talking to and the terminology you need to use, right? Because
Yeah.
they don't understand one term, they understand the other term. But you're in the middle, so you got to remember, I'm talking to this guy, I'm talking to that guy. It's funny.
Yeah, it was a learning curve, though. I remember. I mean, look, Adam I mean, we speak real estate, right? Adam spoke financing, so we
Yeah.
kind of merged those two worlds, and we combined it with with the market, with the secondary market. So it was just like a mush of terms and.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately we try to simplify this as much as possible, man. We call it fix and flip loans. We call them rental loans, right? They're hey, we call them 30-year fixed loans. You know what a 30-year fixed is, right?
Here's a
Oh.
question for you, Scott. Are you a renovator, or are you a rehabber, or are you a builder?
I'm a professional real estate investor.
Oh, even better.
That's the best one.
I'm the contractor.
I cover all aspects because
Love
I
it.
mean, we've done everything, right? So we do,
Yeah.
like, if I'm talking to a homeowner, I'm a renovator, right? I'm not a rehabber because they don't know what the
Yeah.
hell a rehabber is. But if I'm talking to an investor or a lender that's in the real estate realm this way, I can say I'm a rehabber. But if I go to, say, PNC Bank, I'm going to have to tell them I'm a renovator because they don't know what a rehabber is either. So it's the
Or
same
real
thing
estate
from my
investor.
aspect. Yeah, or a real estate investor, they might get that. That's why I tell
Yeah.
them I'm a professional because I could do rehabs, I could do new construction, knockdowns, expansions, apartment buildings. So that's why I say it that way because it just covers
Landlord.
everything. Yeah, landlord.
Landlords.
So here's a question for you with leveraging funds. The Burr method. That's what
That's what
everybody
I was
talks about
gonna,
now,
they
right?
were
The
talking
Burr
about
method.
That's actually a really good topic.
Yeah.
So how do we leverage you guys to get some rental properties in our pockets?
Yeah, because it's a little different than flipping, right?
Yes.
You're not rehabbing and selling, you're rehabbing, renting, and then refinancing. So
It's only
can
slightly
you leverage
not that.
to
Not
do
that.
that?
It really is. It's just the Burr is just basically value add. It's the same thing.
Right. For some
but-
people that might not know, what is the that we're talking
It's
about?
buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat.
Repeat.
Everybody got that? So just in case if there's,
I know there's
some may
people out
not
there
know.
asking that question. So
So-
that's why I
When you
wanted to
get when
put
you
it
get
out
into commercial, when you get into commercial deals, let's say 5 units and up, or it could be any asset. It's really value add. Where you're buying something, you're renovating it somehow, and then you're creating equity so that you can pull out that equity through a refinance.
By the way, you're using a bridge loan to get there.
Yeah.
So there we come around full circle, right? So
Okay.
we have a lot of borrowers that come to us and they start with the fix and flip, and this is all like one program for us, right? In a way, but we can actually offer long-term finance. We could offer 30-year loans on rentals. So we do that now. They start with the fix and flips, and then 6, 7, 8 months down the road, they're refining out with us. We have great rates for the 30-year. What are we at now, Adam? If you recall?
Yeah,
For
I was looking at it before because my mind is just blown away. Of
Where were
like,
they when we did our apartment building?
yeah, so what's actually interesting is
I mean, with the 30-year
we start off,
rental,
we
we're
start off,
competitive with banks.
yeah,
We're
so
competitive.
like, yeah, so actually, yeah, we just lowered our rates. Okay, so just keep in mind, the rental loans we're talking about, it's not bank money, it's a little bit more expensive. But there's less bureaucracy, meaning that we don't care about your tax returns. We're not looking at your income, none of that. These rental loans are more credit sensitive, not experience. We don't really care about experience on the rental loan. Rates, Mario, I'm looking at the rate sheet. I know we're starting at 4.5, but I don't. I'm not. I have to double. We have to double check it.
That's
This
not
is
bad.
It might have been less. It might be. Look, next week you give me a call. It could take a dip. I don't know, but
It's
that's how we
changing.
did.
A
Yeah.
lot of things are changing. We're doing a big push on that. If anyone has noticed, we're talking a lot about Burr. We launched a website just for Burr, and we're getting really behind it because one, there's a ton of investors that want to do this and have been wanting to do this forever. I mean, that's kind of the holy grail of why the majority of people get into investing and flipping houses in the first place. It's not because they like lifting a hammer up and breaking sinks and tubs. It's
Wait,
usually, hey, I'd love it too.
I do.
I love construction, but at the end of the day, I want to own assets, right? I want
Right.
income producing assets, and a lot of those borrowers are coming to us now. And now, quite honestly, everybody was kind of frothing at the mouth because when the pandemic hit, those loans went away. I mean, nobody could really do those things. So, including us, we were kind of tied with the market. We can get those done.
Yeah.
So now they're back in full force, and we're super competitive. And yeah, we can get those done. We can start with the fix and flip. We can bring it there, or if you already own something, we can get you in a 30-year fix.
Yeah, and we could close. Well, the rental loan, the fix and flip, 2 weeks or less. Rental loans, 3 weeks to give you a cushion, but we could do it in less time. But I like to give you the most pessimistic scenario.
Yeah.
What's really interesting too is that that we could actually do this with the commercial too, which is awesome because we 5 units and up multifamily, which I think is a tremendous opportunity.
Yeah.
Small multifamily, 1 to 4s and 5 units and up, maybe 20 units or less. It's a huge opportunity. Small mom. Actually, Scott, we had this discussion the other day.
Yep.
I remember a long one. There's a lot of landlords out there that are, you have to keep in mind, to keep it very simple, is that the larger operators, you're talking about the 100 units and up or 500 units, they have more cash. They can weather a storm. The smaller guy, the mom and pop, maybe owns 10 units or less, 20, they have not paid tenants, there's eviction moratorium. They have to make decisions. The lender, they still got to pay the lender, but guess what? They have not paid tenants. These properties, maybe they might have been built in the 70s. And they need renovations. I believe it's about like 10 million of these available. Huge opportunity. And then you can come to a lender like us to give you a loan to buy, renovate, and then go into a long-term loan. We could go 30.
Oh, we lost you.
Lost your audio, bro.
We lost Adam.
And I have from Facebook Watch Party over here on this side. I have a question. Once Adam
Can
gets
you hear me
it.
now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Back.
All right.
Yeah, they got a question. Let's hear it.
All right. Yeah.
We said the 30-year. Can you do a 30-year fixed on a property in other states besides New Jersey? And
Absolutely.
if so, which states?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. We could do
Do you
that.
have
We're
any that
nationwide.
you don't do? Any states you don't do?
Nevada, North Dakota, and
We always forget. There's only 3. It's hard to remember.
I
What's
got
wrong with North Dakota? You don't like the snow?
I've no issues with North Dakota. They have issues with the way Harmony loans work.
Yeah.
There's,
Right.
there's more regulations, let's put it that way, that kind of gives us a barrier to entry.
Yeah.
To keep it
Okay.
simple.
And any other hard money lender for that.
Nevada,
Yeah.
North Dakota, and Minnesota.
Yeah.
Oh, Minnesota, North Dakota, and Nevada.
Yeah,
The banks have that locked.
Is that it?
Yeah, and look, there's lobbying going on because some states are trying to, there's both
Unfair.
private lenders are trying to fight this regulation right
Yeah,
now. These are
fair
commercial loans, and there's less rules with this type of lending than the type of loans that you live in. A private owner occupant loan, the house that you live in, there's more regulation. These
Yeah.
type of loans we're dealing with is
yeah. Let me give your audience a bit of I guess a little nugget with these loans and something that they need to understand so they can compare apples to apples, so they can be educated about what type of financing they're actually searching for in the first place, right? You don't know what you're gonna get unless you know what you're looking for. So the world of LLC rental, small rental, meaning 1 to 4 units. Let's just keep it simple. The 1 to 4 unit houses. That world has, for the longest, for as far back as I remember, we got into this thing about 15 years ago. Every single one of our rental assets has been financed or refinanced, for that matter, through credit unions in New Jersey. So it really, in our credit, it has always been impeccable. Our experience has been there. So we've never had to really deal with anything but the best of the rates and terms and programs. So anyways, point is that the best that market has had to offer for the longest, LLC, I'm talking LLC rental product, was a 25-year amortized loan. The rates, the best I ever got was 5%. The worst I ever got was 5.75%. And they were amortized over 25 years. The issues with these loans, and anyone that's done any type of bank or credit union financing could agree, is really the red tape, right? The red tape is insane. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the fastest, what was it, Dan? The fastest we were refinance was like 2.5 months, 3 months.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was almost
I
90.
think it was 3 months.
Yeah,
Took
I mean,
3 months for our building.
it was
Yeah.
easy. And even I remember even until the last minute, until they send us an approval. Like we were approved, but it was still subject
It
to
is.
board
After that,
approval. It was ridiculous. So but anyways, listen, it was
We got used to
out there. The type of capital that Adam was describing, the larger rental money that has flooded the markets really nationwide, it was not available. Heck, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it wasn't available the way it was, the way it is now. So we did what we had to do to come up, right? And so I guess what I'm trying to get across is get a story from true experience, our path on this until we were able to actually find until this change between this merge between Wall Street and Main Street became more feasible. 25 years, 5.5 rate, crazy red tape.
Yeah.
Fast forward to now. Our loans are, first of all, 30-year fixed, right? So what does that mean? First and foremost, we stretch the term of the loan by 5 more years, obviously. But what that does is it actually increases your cash flows on a monthly basis. So that's the first takeaway. You literally make more money with these loans than if you go to a bank. So if that doesn't resonate with you, I don't know what else does. But the second one, and frankly, perhaps could be arguably the first one, is the red tape. The red tape is insane, as I mentioned. With us, it's really not there. So we, as we mentioned, we don't really care about the taxes. What we do care about is a couple of things on rentals. We care about a lease. We want to know that the property is leased, and if it's not, it's okay. We can still do it, but we really want to put the best foot forward, right? And the best terms, the best everything are going to come when you have a lease property. So we care about a lease. What you're doing as an investor is you're monetizing that lease. You're telling us that lease is going to pay up, and we're going to lend to you based on your credit. Credit is very important on rental loans, but we're also going to be basing our maximum loan amount on the ratio between the amount of money that you're bringing in versus the amount of money that you're spending, right? Like any other bank, we're going to look at your balance between your income versus your taxes, your insurance, and every expense. But here's the second
Property itself,
and
not like person.
right, exactly. So difference number two, and um perhaps even more important than the first one. We our due diligence is not like a bank. In other words, we don't care how much money you're spending every single month on that little side light you have on the driveway, and we don't care how much money you're spending on whichever other little light, a little expense that banks generally care for.
On maintenance.
Right, a bank is going to want to know how much you're spending on name it, on the snow plowing, right? Like they want to know absolutely everything. So the reason banks want to do this is because they want to minimize your cash flow. By minimizing your cash flow, your loan also shrinks. By your loan shrinking, the amount of money that they're going to give you also shrinks. So anyways, we take the different approach. We care about your income. We care about your taxes, your insurance, flood insurance, and HOA fees if you have them. But to us, those are the major core expenses, right? It's your taxes, your income, your gross income, everything that you bring in versus your taxes, because they'll always have to get paid. Your insurance, because it would always have to get paid, because we want to make sure that if your house burns down, we're all getting paid, right? And you want to make sure of that. And any other additional expenses like flood insurance, want to know if you get flooded, we're going to be able to recoup this. So other than that, we really don't care about all the small things. We don't care about them because we're extending your loan by 5 more years. So we know that your cash flows are going to be higher regardless. You should be able to sustain this. It's still within a 1.1 DCR. So a technical term for, we still got to make sure that your money is enough to cover your debt service, your monthly payments. You're still making enough money to pay us back.
Debt coverage ratio.
And another important note, we're talking 1 to 4 family right now, right? But one other important note is we don't care about your financials. We care about the property financials.
Right.
Okay.
You're looking at the asset, not the people behind it.
Can you
Correct.
can do cash out with you guys? So
Yeah,
if
90.
so I can leverage that, right? That way.
Yeah.
So Dan, go ahead, Dan. We just came up with this number that Dan's gonna give you. It's literally math that we did like 2 days ago at a meeting.
Yeah,
Ahead, because I want to know if I could do my apartment building. Shoot.
we had 50% of our loans were BRRRR loans, right?
Okay.
And of those 50%, 90% were cash outs. 90% of our borrowers were actually cashing out on the rental loan, which we didn't even know until we said, let's figure this out. We're always looking at our numbers, right? Let's figure out what's this data, what's happening here, So yeah, there's a lot of people that are actually doing the BRRRR with us. So 50% of our borrowers are doing actual BRRRR. They're coming in, they're fixing and flipping, and then they're going into a 30-year fix with us. And then 90% of those loans are actually cash outs, which I think is freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, that's how somebody we know did 42 properties that way down in Virginia. I idolize them. I want our company to be just like theirs.
Well, we could do that. We could do portfolio loans. Basically, that's a portfolio loan. That's all it is.
Does it have to be in the same zip codes if you're doing it that way?
No.
No.
No? Okay.
We don't know.
Now they tell us.
The biggest takeaway, guys, from all this, all this back and forward technical mumbo jumbo. It's all great, and we understand the product is out here. This is the biggest takeaway. Things are way different than they used to be, and accessibility to this type of capital is very, very empowering and very, very good for people in our line of business. It's like the equivalent to an SBA loan, right? The government said, hey, a whole bunch of you guys can now borrow on this. We're in a position where, good or bad, right? Because of Wall Street's greed, we're able to really capitalize on a product that did not exist 3 to 4 years ago.
Nope.
It did not. It did not allow people, first of all, even before the rates and all that, it did not allow for people with no experience to become landlords.
Right.
They wanted to know that you at the very least own your own home, right? I mean, today we were talking about this during the meeting. We gave out a pretty sizable term sheet to a new investor who she's buying her first rental, and it's a hell of a rental. I mean, it's cash flow. It's a good damn house, and she doesn't even own a house. She lives in an apartment. She's never owned a home. She has no intentions of owning a home. I mean, I had this conversation with her. She's like, "Why the hell would I want to own a house?" She's like, "I just want to buy apartments so they can pay for my fancy apartment."
I wish I was when I first started, I wish I was that smart.
Right. And you know that my point is, the times have changed.
Yeah.
Times have changed, and financing has changed, and when financing changes, those that pay attention, those that listen and understand the waves changing, can surf better, right? And I think this is one of those times. I think the big wave that Adam was mentioning, this big storm of rental, call it an exchange of wealth, right? A transfer of
Yeah.
wealth
Yeah.
is really what it is.
Transfer, yes.
Yep.
Right, that's happening right now, and unbeknownst to the world, when like everybody else out there is like, oh wow, you know, interest rates are so low, honey,
Bitcoin.
you should buy a house. Well,
Yeah.
it's happening, and it's a good thing that it's happening. Us in this in the 20% of that 100%, us we understand this better, and we can capitalize from the entire rental long-term ownership wealth building strategy right now, probably more than ever. For my own experience, easier time now than it was the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the heck, and this goes back all the way to 2008, right? Where, and let's be straight. I mean, you know, money was very easy and attainable back then for rentals, but it was illicit. It wasn't real. It was, you could qualify for 10 houses by doing a no doc, but you really weren't, not, most people at the very least were not in the business of owning houses in the first place, right? I'm talking about us, the 20%, the us that do this for a living, that make profits and count on doing deals. We deserve a product like this. I guess is what I want to put out. This is not the shady 2008 crap that Wells Fargo and
No, this is
And what's interesting too is there's a lot of positive market sentiment now on the SFR single family rentals or single family residential for rent. What's interesting is back, let's call it a decade ago, you know, with those subprime loans that eventually the market imploded. Look at Blackstone. They went out, they're literally going to the auctions with cash, bought thousands of homes. They proved that this could be an institutionalized asset class. The biggest problem, the reason why Wall Street never entered the space of being a landlord of single family rentals is because they didn't know how to manage it. They had no idea. And they thought, and Warren Buffett said, if I could buy 1,000 homes, basically he said he would go out and buy 1,000 homes, but the problem is how do I manage it? And everybody thought, but then they figured it out. Right.
I want to say one thing before, because I know there's, you guys are probably going to wrap this up soon.
Yeah.
I just want to say that we did get a little high level with all this stuff, and this is all really exciting stuff. I just want to put out there once again that Arcade Capital, if you have any idea of what you want to do, you have properties under your belt, but you don't really know how to structure all this stuff yet. You know, you don't know the terms yet. It's okay. Just give us a call. It's because we'll help you figure it out. You know, you don't have to know all this stuff. There are a lot of borrowers out there that have 3, 4, 5 deals, and they're looking at their first rental, or maybe they purchased their first rental and they want to refi it out there, and they're in that, but they don't know everything yet. And all of a sudden, this is sounding like high level, and it really isn't. You know, it really isn't. But you have a friend in the space, call it, and that's us. You know, so yeah, I'm doing the big plug right now.
That was good.
Okay.
And another thing that I wanted to mention too was the improvement in the capital markets, us lenders, that makes it possible. Meaning that, you know, the question is, how am I going to buy 10 homes or 12 homes? You know, you could have a portfolio of like 20, 30, 100 single family homes. And guess what? You could buy them with one loan. That wasn't available a decade ago.
Right.
So now the financing is more flexible. It's cheaper. And now, and guess what? There's going to be a lot of opportunity coming. So now's the time to build your team. Now it's time to start networking, like events like this with Tabitha and Scott. Build your team with lenders, realtors, attorneys, and look, a lender. When you're shopping for properties, you're gonna need a pre-approval letter. You're gonna need a proof of funds, and guess what? The lender's the one that gives you that, and we could give you those, right?
Yeah.
So, and we'll give it to you with your name on it, or let's say your LLC, and we'll give you amount of the actual amount that you're approved for. So you can show that wholesaler, realtor, or owner that you have it, and it's like cash. But that's really what it is.
I have one sitting in my email right now. I have to go send it to the realtor.
And another thing I wanted to throw out there, based on what Daniel just said, was, it sounds like a lot of high-end discussion here. If you're still skeptical or nervous or hesitant to talk to ARCAD, because some people look at you guys and go, man, you guys are so knowledgeable, you have all the money, people get that fear factor, reach out to us. Come talk to us, and we'll make the introduction, or we'll be
us.
Yeah, we'll be the mediator between them till you get comfortable with working with ARCAD. But we know the guys at ARCAD.
We're human. We put our pants on just like you did.
That's what we like.
We're the same. We're nothing, like, we're human. Like, don't.
So people understand. I met Mario when he was doing 52 houses in 52 weeks.
Yes.
How many years ago was that?
Oh, wow. 52 houses in 52 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, that's called leveraging. Oh, we were doing it 10 years ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. And I remember that, and I'll never forget it. And he said that, and I sat there and said, how the hell is he doing that? Where does he get the financing to do 52 houses in 52 weeks?
Walked into a different networking event, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's going to do 52 houses. Holy crap.
Yep.
I'd like to get to know him, but that scares me. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So
It's
I've
intimidating,
been there. It is.
It gets to be
know.
intimidating when you
see.
hear terminology and topics, and you
But-
guys are well versed, but we know you guys are from where we're sitting and where some of the people are sitting right now. Mario's doing 52 houses in 52 weeks.
Yeah.
And if you know his story, he started flipping in college without having any freaking clue on how to do anything, right? And now he's not only a lender, but he's a developer, a landlord, still does flippings. He does everything. ARCAD is involved with all of those transactions and all a part of it. So that's why we like working with ARCAD, because we're like, listen, they're still in the trenches with us. They understand what we do. The other lenders, I can tell you what they say. Oh, so how do you form your business? Well, I got me and 3 other guys from Wall Street and formed this company that lends out money. But you've never done rehabbing. You've never done renting. Now some of them are starting to get into the higher end. Oh, we're buying apartment complexes because they could see the wealth and the cash flow out of it, right? But they've never been where a lot of the people are at in these seats here going, how do I do this? How do I do this?
Yep.
So when we tell people, go to ARCAD, talk to them, reach out to them, have a conversation, they know. They'll work with you. They'll help coach you. They'll put you in contact with, if they can't help, they'll put you in contact with people like us or other experienced investors that can work with you and help guide you as well. So it's all about building that relationship. And like they were just saying, it's I don't know if the gurus are talking about it, but I remember when I first started getting into it, it was your power team. Who's your power team? Your attorney, your title agent, your accountant, your lender.
You need money.
It was all these people that you still need to have in your business. And I think some people miss those parts. I still think they're not getting that information.
I have another question over here. Someone has a 10-year non-recourse loan and I want to refinance. What's your interest rate on the kind of loan? And it's in Texas.
Texas.
Probably not covered in ice.
I think
Just
You
saying.
need a renovation loan, right?
Yeah, to keep it simple for time purposes, we could give you this. We have something on our website. Go to our website. You can fill. It's like for a quick quote. You just fill in the pertinent information. We'll spit you out a term sheet.
Yeah. Hey, let me. I'm in it for the talking. So if you, if time's not necessarily constrained, first and foremost, look, I love the team approach. Mario, 52 houses and all that is nothing without a team behind him. So I thank you, man, for all the love and I love the fact that we've known each other for so long, and I love the fact that we're still doing this. And we'll hopefully be doing this for the next decade, man. But truth of the matter is, I'm one on one side on Archer Group. I'm one of 7 on Archer Capital. I'm one of 10, right? So I'm just the loudest usually. But point of the matter is, um, I hope I hope this remains for a long time, and team is everything.
I hope we can do it in person though soon.
Yeah, so
So
As far as Texas, I love hearing about Texas because we have marketing out there, and we haven't getting so much
It's
traction
it's a hot market, Texas.
from
Yeah.
Very hot market.
Texas. Yeah, our terms are very reasonable in Texas.
Okay.
California's moving there, so people in California are leaving California and
Yeah.
they're moving to Texas.
yeah,
There's
And
a-
Austin,
another question.
Dallas. What location is this in Texas?
They didn't say.
She didn't say. But I also have another question. Someone asked, do you do non-recourse loans?
Yes. That's a great question. We actually just got into this whole
Oh,
topic.
that's good.
So we have it. We have it. Rates actually don't change. Recourse or
Okay.
non-recourse for the smaller. A little bit of a cut of leverage on leverage on the little houses on the 1 to
1 to 4, yeah.
not a whole lot, about 5%. But the rate remains the same, which is a huge point because usually non-recourse comes with a very high, ugly rate, and we don't.
Yeah.
We're actually sticking to the same one. As far as what was the other question? The
Is
non-recourse.
this 5 units or well, how many units is it though?
We have a 10-year
Um,
recourse loan.
Oh, you
No,
got a
so
10-year
yeah, there'll be
recourse?
so 5 units and up, there's no rate reduction.
Okay.
I mean, there's no rate change and there's no leverage reduction. It stays the same.
Yeah.
The only
Okay,
difference
and
is
it's in
oh.
Lubbock.
In the house with the Texas is in Lubbock,
Lubbock?
Texas. Lubbock,
Huh?
Lubbock,
Lubbock?
Texas.
Lubbock.
Love it.
it's a 1 to 4 family, the house.
The one that was talking about doing
I know her, so a non-recourse loan is at 4.5%.
Nice.
Or
Depending
Non-recourse loan right now.
depending on her credit, ours will come in a little bit higher than that. That's actually a really good rate. I don't like the 10-year term though. That's weird. That could get really
Yeah.
trouble. So we don't have. I mean, we could give a 10-year term if they wanted, but why the hell do that? So we just do like a 30-year fix.
30-year.
Yeah,
It really works.
It really depends on the asset class.
think
like,
you'll be
like-
able to leverage by having less of a payment every
Yeah.
month by
Yeah.
spreading it out.
yeah,
So
You got
right,
more money in your
right,
pocket.
Right. The payments will more than likely be. I'm sorry. The cash flow will more than likely be higher. With
Yeah.
us. Even if the rate is slightly higher, the cash flows will be higher.
yeah.
It's kind of less stressful.
And
because
one
you
thing to
don't
keep in
have to
mind
refund it.
is like the 1 to 4 family versus a 5 and up, it's different. For 5 and up, you may want to go interest only. You may want to do things a little differently because you're dealing with investors. Maybe timelines are different, but this could, we definitely would like to take a look at these deals, and we could definitely run the numbers and give you a term sheet like tomorrow, like literally.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Or
form
at
that Adam was
Capital.
talking about is
Fill out the form.
yeah, the form that Adam was talking about, and Joel, I think he's on there. Please share this with the chat. The form that we came up with it's quite powerful. It's applicable to pretty much from houses to buildings, and it really takes like less than a friggin' minute to fill it out. If you fill it out, our team on the back end will actually create a term sheet and email it to you directly. So you'll actually have a term sheet to truly base your financial your loan on and make a decision whether you go with us or you're shopping it around. At the very least, now you have a guide. You have a foundation on why you should.
and now we break down everything, all the costs. There's no surprises. We don't like hit you. Oh, by the way, you got to pay this at the closing. No. We don't have surprises. No junk fees.
We're trying to
They'll-
make it
they'll
easy.
spit out a bunch of,
Make a phone call or whatever.
I'm really digging this non-recourse stuff, man. I don't
Yeah.
know how many. I know how much people like this, and
but you know where that comes into play, right?
Yeah,
It protects so this is more higher level for investors. Probably a lot of investors if you don't know what non-recourse
Yeah.
is, means you're not signing a personal guarantee. And basically the lender has a pledge of interest in the property. So basically if things blow up, let's say whatever, the deal's a bad deal, you just get the property back, and
No.
the lender's not going
Lenders,
to
we shouldn't be talking about this, right? Like
Yeah.
this is straight up like investor talk. Like lenders don't really
Yeah.
reason why non-recourse is a good thing for an investor.
Yeah.
It's just weird, but it is what it is. I
Okay,
live in this
so
world where like we
You can
have
put- I don't know if they
always
can
like
hear it.
on this side and
Well,
have
they can hear from here, right?
Yeah, they can
Okay,
hear.
so I just want to say something because Joel put some things in the chat, but the people on Facebook can't see it.
And on my, I have a watch party
and she's
going
got a
on
watch
this
party.
side.
So
Oh damn.
if you need money for real estate, US lending nationwide, except for Minnesota, North
Nevada.
Dakota, and Nevada, go to arcad.capital/loan programs.
Did that already, it's on
Okay.
there.
Quick quote and term sheet for your deal in 60 minutes, arcad.capital/quick hyphen pricing hyphen quote. No credit pull, 100% full, 100% fundable. Wait, I gotta get my glasses, hold on.
We're getting old, okay? We gotta
And
pull out
then,
the glasses for certain things.
Okay, if you want to get a hold of Arcad, you can look at Daniel's face. He's got the number there. If you can't read it, it's 800-205-LOAN.
There you go.
Arcad.capital is their website. You can email loans@thearcadgroup.com.
Right, so,
Cool.
I love the plug, man. I always have very.
Thank you.
Um,
You're better at it
Yeah,
than us.
all the information is there for people that are on Facebook that can't see the chat. So, and they're asking questions and, you know, it's like, here, just go here and do this and, you know,
Oh, there he is.
Hi.
So you can just Google market cap.
there he is.
Hey, buddy.
Steel.
So
Hi, Tabitha. Hi,
there's
Sarah.
multiple ways to leverage your funding, depending on the deal structure, depending on what you're doing. You could do single family, you could do multi in the 1 to 4 range, and then you could also do commercial in the 5+ range. Arcad has plenty of programs out there for anybody in the real estate world looking to do deals. You just have to get over the fear of talking to people.
oh,
I think a lot of people have that fear of picking up the phone and having a conversation because they might hear the word yes instead of no.
yeah, that's the worst thing that happened.
Right?
You know, I have to, if everybody has watched one of the movies, one of the Batmans, he's standing there and the guy that runs really fast, Flash.
Flash.
So he's standing there and the kid is scared. But he's Flash. I mean, come on, you can run so fast. You can do it. And he's standing there. He's like, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. Just save one. So just start one.
Yep.
After you do the first one, it gets easier.
First one's the hardest.
It
So,
Just take action.
It becomes
Take action,
addictive.
take it.
yes,
It's
Yeah.
addictive. You have to become addicted to this. It's fun, trust me. And
Oh,
you-
it is. It's a drug.
oh, I love smashing and trashing walls. You have no idea when my kids said that they wanted to own a demo and debris removal and they started that business. I am their free labor any day of the week. I am there. I love putting my foot through a wall or, ripping.
They actually helped me out one day. I had to take out a couch, and then I was like, "Oh, can you take this, this, and this?" Got a bunch of stuff out of them. Out of my garage.
They take everything hazardous material pretty much.
They're great too. They're
Yeah.
awesome.
The hazard materials, they don't have the hazmat, the license for that.
Yeah.
And if other companies, including your dumpsters, people don't realize this. If they get caught if those chemicals, paint and stuff in your dumpsters, and you dump them on there,
And
and
they see it.
they find out it's you can get up to $50,000 fine
Whoa.
for putting those paints and the chemicals, even your Lysol sprays. And if they want to fine you, they can.
Yeah. It's considered a
They
chemical.
can't go
hazardous
in the
material.
trucks or
Shouldn't
the
be in the, yeah, it's
dumpsters.
not supposed to be in dumpsters, and people tend to throw the stuff in garbage bags and
Just
throw it in
saying.
there, but if it gets caught, then the dumpster company gets fined, and then it comes back on you, because you're the one that rented the dumpster, right? So, just a food for thought there.
just,
You want to do things right. Don't go cheap. Do things right, and
yeah.
That's,
Exactly.
that's how we always are, I don't like bad things happening. There's
And
enough
pay a
things-
little bit more because cheap labor isn't skilled and skilled labor isn't cheap.
Correct.
you're gonna pay for it later. when you go cheap.
There's
you know.
nothing more expensive that there's a bunch of derivatives of it. There's nothing more expensive than doing something cheap.
Yes. Because you have to do it 2 or 3 times to fix the first time.
I know, they call us in to fix those problems.
Very costly. Awesome.
All right, I'm
All right,
still
any other
typing.
questions?
All right,
So
still
you're still
typing
typing,
here.
just waiting for that to go through.
Pricing
Um,
slash.
Any last food for thought here, guys? Let's start with Daniel. What do you got? Any last items, tidbits, food?
Not really. I mean, give us a call. Like I said, we're here for you. We've been there, we've done that. Going back to the fact that we are just people. We're flippers and developers by nature first. We just understand you guys, and the reason why we can work out some of these deals and figure out some of these things is because, again, we've been there, and quite honestly, we've made tons of mistakes. I don't pull the card. I tell that to people all the time. They think it's funny, and, and I kind of say it as a joke, but it's true. I'm seasoned because I've been through what you've been through, and I don't know how many times I'm talking to a borrower and I'll tell them what they're going through without them even letting me know. And I say, listen, I have an idea of what's happening here. Is this what's going on? And they go, oh, how did you know that? Because it happened to me 5 years ago. Now let's figure it out, because I also got out of it, because that's my high. My high in this business and real estate is going through the challenges. Not that I love them when they happen, but getting through them. Mario and I have been through ups and downs in this business, and we have made it here, and we continue to go. We're going to continue to climb, and that's what has made us what we are. So, if you really want some knowledge, you really want to get this business going, you really want to work with a company that's going to help you get there, and really has a vested interest in your success, we're the ones you should contact, bar none. Just saying. That's all I got.
All right, thanks. Mario, what's your last tidbit? You got anything, or wrap it up?
About I muted myself. I don't know. Do I first?
Do Adam first.
Okay.
Adam,
Yeah,
you're
so
up.
build your, keep on networking, keep on educating. Being here is the right thing to do. You could be, watching Netflix, but you're here with us on Wednesday evening, which is great. And thank you for being here with us. Just keep on doing it. Keep on educating yourself. Build your team, network. Educate, and you're gonna go further than most people out there. And you're and we're human. So thank you, Scott and Tabitha, for us. And give us a call if you have a question. We'll whatever it is, we're open book, and we'll help you. And that's it. Just keep on educating, and
Get her done.
and you're gonna, and now you're getting in a good time. So just build your team, get prepared, and another thing is don't give up, because a lot of real estate investors, they come into this business and then they get frustrated because they can't find a deal, or eventually you're gonna land a deal. It's gonna take repetition. Just keep on going at it until you get it. So I think that's my tidbit until that time.
Deals are being found.
Yeah, 80 offers later.
Yeah, to piggyback off of what Adam said, when we got our first deal, we had looked at over 100 properties before we got one under contract.
Oh,
yeah.
And we were looking for months, and our model is still the same. I'm not overpaying. I'm not putting myself in a bad situation just
Stick to your
because,
numbers.
just because I'm not going to get the deal. It's not a deal unless it's when you buy it. That's where you make your money, on the buy, not on the sale side. You get your profit on the sale side, but you make your money on the buy. If you buy too high, you don't have profit. You get yourself into trouble.
Right.
So
excellent. Yeah.
I don't want to sound like I've been around for too long. I'm only 37. I a whole lot ahead of me to be discovered, and but I have made it through. By now, it's 2 cycles, right? 2 crashes, one major one and one weird one. And I'm taking my lessons. I'm writing them down. I'm tattooing them on my arm, right? And I want to remember them. And there are a lot of realizations, there are a lot of things that come up, but the one that really stands out, and especially on this one, because this crash is one of survival rather than opportunity, right? Like the banks are not giving away houses. It's a different type of crash. So from
Yeah.
our end, what I guess the takeaway is, I've learned resilience. And I've known resilience for a long time. I'm a survivor. I'm a fighter. Um, but this was different. You know, this was definitely different. It still is, right? We're still going through this crap. Um,
Yeah.
Resilience and being able to pivot, being able to readjust, being able to not freak out, right, and not think the world is really coming down. And although nothing is always, you know, peaches and cream and black and white, and uh, you know, being able to be resilient and being able to really kind of like you guys, right? Stick to what you know and build upon that, and not yet pivot and explore different things, but keep your core
Sure.
and remain what got you here in the first place, right? Like being able to have that and maintain that during times like these, I think speaks volumes, you know. So
That's what makes a true investor, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So if you're just getting into this and you think things are tough, you're not finding deals, too many wholesalers. I mean, we hear it all, and frankly, they're all valid. They're all true. The
Yeah.
the market is saturated. It's not an entry. It's not an easy entry point. It's not an easy entry business anymore. You may know everything theoretically. You may have watched every single YouTube video, but it does not mean that you're equipped enough to actually get into this, or it does not mean that you even have a shot at getting that phone to ring, right? So it's a highly competitive market.
Mhm.
The only thing that I can tell you is and again, personal experience above anything else, resilience prevails, and those that remain standing up, and standing, even if you're not standing strong, you're standing up. When this entire mess, this entire ordeal passes by, you're the one that deserves to remain. What I have seen, past market, past crash, recovery, pandemic, um, and everything in between, I've realized that just like real estate, just like houses get recycled, right? This house got foreclosed 10 years ago. Now it got rehab. Now it's a piece of crap again. Now it gets rehabbed again. Resold again.
Yeah.
One of ours is up on Liz Pendants.
Yeah, right now it's a tax sale before it was a sheriff's sale, right?
Oh, it was a knockdown.
Just knocked down there.
It
We
was a
knocked it down.
knockdown, and now it's a Liz Pendants.
I realized that with market readjustments, with market changes like the ones that I described, um, the wave of investors also happens, just like houses. New faces come into the market. Similar repetitive faces like ours remain. And some of those new faces fade away. Some of those new faces become the old faces, right? So it's this cycle that I keep seeing, and by now I almost find it amusing, right? Like I can almost, I play a game. I go, yeah, this one's staying, this one's not, this one's not. No, these guys, they're good. They get it. They're gonna make it. So, that being said, I guess the point of me saying all this is there's almost like a there's almost like there's no secret sauce. And Adam and Dan are right. This is no rocket science, but it does require a certain degree of resilience.
Yep.
It requires a certain degree of you being the punching bag for a little bit, of you understanding that yes, you have competition, and no, it's not a simple thing, and no, you don't become an investor by watching YouTube videos, and you do need skin in the game. You do need to learn how to raise money. Like you need all these basic components to even call yourself an investor, right? So I believe times like these push us to become a better version of us on the business side, personal side too, but on the business side. So I believe these market corrections that are happening, although they may feel like they're making everything a little more difficult for everyone, for those of us who know how this works, we know this is a temporary pain.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know how this works, understand that this is a temporary pain, that this isn't the norm, that um, if getting into the business is what you've decided to do, and it feels difficult to make it, understand it's supposed to. You got into it in a time where everyone else got into it, so it's bound to be difficult. But understand that with like just like any other wave, as the tide goes down, a whole lot of that competition goes away.
Yeah, I have an
The-
uncle who's saying that the same thing. Like getting in now's when you're learning. Now's what you're saying is learning it now. Get in, start, get your feet wet. Now's
Right,
the
when you
time.
keep up, right now is you learn how to shoot a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, definitely.
now here's the part that I think some of us who are in the front lines will benefit greatly from this. Some of us that have remained and not, flopped or gotten out of the business, bankrupt, whatever the hell case may be, will be in line to benefit from. The amount of inventory available coming down the pipeline is almost insane. It's ludicrous. I mean, we've done basic math on just the sheriff sales. As you guys know, we're big on buying properties at the sheriff sales in Union County, and we finance investors in sheriff sales in pretty much every freaking county across the state. So we have a very strong pulse on that type of money and that type of flow. So what we know just based on simple math is the amount of volume that those sheriffs, the sheriff departments have not been able to push out last year. And forget about the big default tape bank trades that are happening and all those things. Forget about all that stuff for a second. Let's just talk about what's in the pipeline at the sheriff's department. That the last frontier of that mess.
Yeah.
That frontier is insanely large. So what happens now is again, I had someone brought this out. They're like, well, there are so many people with money on the sidelines, right? There are so many people with money on the sidelines, but the way investing at a different level works, it also works as almost like at a financial attainability level, meaning there are barriers of entry for these houses. So in other words, majority of the people that are now investing or getting into the business of real estate will continue to do the same. They'll continue to send the mailers, they'll continue to do the wholesaling side of thing. But things like sheriff sales, right? There is a cost of entry. Not everyone can go in there and drop $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 on a deposit. The amount of inventory that's coming down from those sheriff sales is ridiculous. So just to summarize the entire thing, I'm one of the bigger buyers, or if not the biggest buyer in Union County Sheriff Sales. I plan on expanding that operation quite largely across the state, strictly because of this. Now, not only that we have the availability to buy these houses at the auctions, but needless to say, we have the availability to finance them for people on the other end. So, we believe strongly on this, and I guess the reason I'm expressing these potential strategies to use, because I want people to understand that what we're seeing right now is not the norm. So if you're if you're not encouraged enough to continue this, if you want to get out of this, if it's becoming too much to cope with because it's just too difficult to to break into, just understand that this is not the norm. And I know it sounds a little cliche, but better times ahead, right? Better times are coming. And frankly, and I know for the rest of my team, the same on the real estate side, especially, we look forward to those times again.
Sure.
One more thing I wanted to mention too was follow Wall Street, because Wall Street single family homes only 0.2% is owned by Wall Street. They figured out how to manage it. So when you talk about competition, there's billions of dollars sitting on the sidelines ready to gobble up homes. And let me tell you something. The fundamental underwriting has changed since the last recession, where the new loans that came in were dealing with a lot of baby boomers that are equity rich, cash poor. values have been going up. So you may, or let's say the mortgage rate, that's a whole other thing. You have people that are not paying their mortgages. Guess what? They gotta pay it.
Mhm.
So there's people out there that these houses may not hit they actually may be more advantageous for them to sell because they can recoup some equity versus going through foreclosure. So deals may be on the MLS, and you may find sellers there. So just well,
I got to do a plug. Got to come to CNJ because we do have a REO realtors that are our
Yeah,
sponsors here also on this
Villa.
team. And Andre's on the other side at
He's
the watch
listening.
thing. He just popped in and he says, yeah, it's huge. They're
But Mario
coming
was saying that the sheriff's sale, it's huge, the amount of inventory just sitting there waiting.
in. Yup.
When it's gonna flip, and it's probably gonna happen, I think, sometime over the summer.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
it's definitely gonna be
I also
huge.
have my uncle, which is really weird because you know that rich uncles that are out there. So this one actually, he called me yesterday morning and he's like, "Oh, you still doing those houses and stuff?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "So this is going to be big coming. You think we're going to be getting back into this?" And I'm like, sitting
Yeah.
here going,
The wise old
"How
man.
you're going to start investing again?" I says he just sold off like one of his last apartments. Now he started in the 70s buying.
Yeah. He used to own
So-
Rutgers, all
Yeah.
the
Sold it right before the
Single family.
pandemic.
well, he sold it before the
And
downturn.
the place in New
Smells
York, 5 mil.
He
Yeah,
smelled- I love meeting and knowing some of the we'll call them the old timers, right?
Yeah,
I was doing this in the 70s and 80s, and when this crash happened, they've been through like 4 crashes, right? Real
Yeah.
estate.
yeah, that's exactly.
They know when to make money. They know when they lost money. They don't want to do it that way again, and they smell it coming. So yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna see a lot of people coming out with their bank accounts and start coming. So if you're raising that financing and you're trying to get that secondary financing to leverage, right? With
Yeah.
hard,
Yeah.
now's the time. Now's the time to start talking about it. Not 6 months from now when it actually happens. Line it up now. Get
Yeah.
now. Be ready to go. Sharpen your sword. Sharpen your axe.
put your team together,
Right.
get to know one
That's-
another, find the right contractors, start getting this stuff together.
Well,
Because-
wow, how is everybody doing this? No, now's the
I get that all the time, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What's it like by you? How are deals? What's going on? I'm like, listen, Jersey's crazy. I'm like,
But
there's other
and
states
another
where
thing
people are like overpaying by like 5 or 10 grand. I'm like, people are paying by like 50 grand here right
Right.
now. It's insane, but it is what it is. That's what people are doing right now, but
yeah, it's Derek A. Logan, Realtor, and Andre Logan. That's our
Yep.
are their sponsors that are for the
that's
group.
Team Villa Homes.
But
Well, Team Villa, New Jersey.
Diane asked, she's not sure if this is appropriate time, but do you happen to have a duplex or a fourplex in Union or Somerset by any chance?
It's not for sale.
Not for sale.
Not for sale. Sorry, Don.
Everybody's buying them and holding them. I mean, but one of the things I was going to say.
you want to buy we want to buy retail or wholesale?
I think she was looking for her daughter, but we also have, I know Anthony Uva he's supposedly starting with auction.com.
Yeah.
So we actually have
auction's good.
another,
Yeah.
we have another guy who's actually got the ins at the auction.com, but I didn't tell anybody. Okay.
But one of the things I was going to say was, for now, based on what you guys were saying, is you need to educate yourself, but you also need to know who you're listening to when you're getting that
Yes.
education. Just because you're watching stuff on YouTube and listening to people talk doesn't mean it's the right people to be listening to. There's a lot of people out there that they don't have your best interest at heart. They're just interested in your pocket. So you got to watch that, and you got to watch the people that aren't doing what you want to do. Don't listen to them because they're just going to tell you wrong information. And if you fail, it's okay, because that's how you learn. Like Daniel was talking about, you go up and down, you make mistakes, you learn. Just fail forward. Don't fail backwards and repeat similar things over and over. We've seen people do that where they kept repeating the same mistake over and over, and they can't figure out what's wrong. And it's like, it's you're doing the wrong thing. Keep doing it over and over. And so those are things that I would like to bring up with people is build your team up. Like now, like Daniel said, and Mario and Adam, you need to learn, but it's not so much as learn, it's also putting the pieces together, get the people in place, start building relationships, and start getting your funding in place so that you can get deals when they happen 3
Mhm.
months down the road. Also, for those out there, is work on your personal credit now. Start fixing it
Absolutely.
now. You know, get your credit scores up for borrowing, because if you can't get private lenders, you can leverage hard money. There's other ways, but sometimes you're going to need to use your credit score to back you.
No,
You're
So-
still gonna need-
get your paperwork in order because he says he'll be calling auctions in Middlesex, Monmouth, and Ocean County.
Right.
I'm there.
That was yeah, that was the.
So I got my papers in order already. Arcad knows me.
And they led that auction, so we actually almost went on a deal with somebody that they know. We didn't get it because we both went there at the same time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we were gonna JV on a deal and we just looked at it and said, what's the price point? And if it goes past this price point, we're done. We're not gonna buy on it because it was an auction property. So it didn't happen, but you know, we're like, hey, let's, you know, two experienced investors JVing on a deal. There's nothing wrong with that either, you know? We just
I
looked at
had
it
a
and said,
choice. It's either that or I was gonna bid him up on it.
well,
So either way.
it's to pull your resources, you know,
Yeah.
like you have people that do this kind of work in your deals and we have this people that do this, and you can look at who has the better price points and who's got lending from where, and, you know, we can pull everything together. That's another way to get deals done is, you know, you leverage not only your money, but you leverage your team and your people and your contractors.
Knowledge.
Your knowledge, everything.
Yeah.
You know, there's multiple ways to leverage things.
But
So-
leveraging the fundings, that's what
Well,
we
leveraging the
really
funding
gotta.
is big key because you
I'm
need
gonna
funding.
fill out the form because I'm curious to see what I'd get for my 8-unit apartment building. When you go that big, it's 8 units, it's a $1 million building. With this pandemic, it's probably worth a lot more than that now.
Well, they just did a tax
But-
reval, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but
Taxes went up.
I want to cash some money out. Do you still use my FICO score or does it go strictly on the building itself? When do
When does
we
it
get out of
transition
it?
out of it?
It just transitions out of it and it's just strictly the buildings themselves.
Just the asset, not the person.
Just
There's always gonna be a credit check. There's no way around that.
Yeah. So
Financing, yeah.
yeah, so and now more than ever, and so what we're talking about is I guess kind of what we were saying before, the entire liability or non-liability. This is generally speaking, most lenders, most banks are going to ask you to be on the deal, so your credit becomes an intricate piece of it. Depending on how large you are as a landlord or developer,
Yeah.
you can sort of leverage that a little bit and you know, have a better deal for you. But we really right now we're living in the era of information, so credit is becoming more and more relevant across the board.
Yeah.
When do you get out of it? Personally, when you choose to. I mean, obviously there's products that will cater to it, you know, on cash out basis. But for the most part, you're always gonna see the better of everything when you remain in the deal.
Okay.
We should run
Right.
figures on it, see what the best scenario is. But yeah, if you fit, if the rate doesn't change and things are relatively the same between those two scenarios, of course, do the non-recourse. You know, like don't be in the deal. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
So what, just out of curiosity, what would it be, what would you guys, off the top of your head, 50% on $1 million, 50% equity?
What I'm not following. What do you mean?
If somebody was gonna refi, like we want to refi our building and
got
it's 50% equity in the building.
Yeah. Gotcha. I'd like 50 loan to cost. So, but
Right.
what would be the rate?
Yeah, like how much, what percentage do you think somebody could get out? Up to what,
Up
70%?
to 70,
We go
75.
70, we go 75 on a cash out.
Okay.
Correct.
max.
He's right. 75% on a cash out, 80% if you just doing a term, just a regular refi. So
Right.
no cash out, we can go all the way up to 80%. Cash out 75, give it another 3 to 6 months, you'll probably see that cash out at an 80% as well. But yeah, the rate, just you match it. I mean, cashing out is great, and depending on your liquidity position, it's even more relevant. But truth of the matter is, the more blood you suck out of that house, the higher your rate's gonna be.
Right.
So the more risk you bring to the table, the more expensive it is, right? So it makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
So what I see, where I see the best sort of the best structure is out of the 70 LTV, not at 65, not at 75. It's somewhere
Right.
between 70 and 72.
Keep
You-
some meat on the bone.
Yeah, you see good cash flow, you see good rates.
You'll-
I'm thinking like 70%.
You know, it's somewhere around there.
You'll thank yourself later in life too.
Oh yeah, that too.
Oh, yeah. It becomes, see, the thought process there, this is what I was asking is, you can go 80%, right? But now your monthly payments are gonna be higher. So you put
Yeah.
yourself, like you said, you're at more at risk because you gotta come up with more funds every month to cover that loan. So if you
Right.
drop it down to 70, you still got a good cushion between, what I have to pay every month and what the debt is, and what you're bringing in. So it's a little bit better that way. Uh-oh.
And also remember, equity wise,
Andre's coming. Andre's coming in the house. A little late there, Andre. A little late, but better late than never.
Andre jumped in. He's the Team Villa Homes.
He's the
REO
other
agent.
sponsor.
also understand that equity, nobody knows what tomorrow brings, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
High equity today may not be the same equity you have 5 years from now. So again, if you pull all that money out, it might harm you later. And when you have to make a move because of a life concern, because whatever, that those sometimes those buildings you have are piggy banks, right? And you might want to sell one, and then all of a sudden you're at this high leverage. You don't want to be underwater, or So be careful with pulling out your money. Pull some out, it's fine. If you got things that you want to do with this money, you want to leverage it into another property,
Yep.
that's a great
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Exactly.
I kind of figured. But go ahead and do it. But we wouldn't suggest you pull it all out. But it's up to
No,
you.
I
It
wouldn't
has
do
to
that.
make sense, right? Like the whole thing has to make sense. If you're
Yep.
just pulling money
Yeah.
out to go buy yourself a freaking Ferrari, listen,
No.
you got your
No.
priorities messed up, right?
No, I'm actually excited because my next adventure, I've done modulars, but I had a company that did them. So a guy retired and taught my jeweler, who I've been friends with since the early 70s, basically when we were in kindergarten. And we've been friends still till to this day. And he's one of the biggest entrepreneurs, and he's learned how to do it when the guy retired. So he did it, and now he's going to teach me. So I need money to do modulars
Ground up.
because there's not that many programs out there that loan to do modulars. Hint.
We'll get right on that.
I had one that did, and I mean, I can go back to that hard money lender, but I'm actually going to be doing, and that's
Have we
going
done
to be my next thing is learning how to put the modulars together from beginning to end all by myself.
Yeah, controlling the project, not paying somebody else to control the project.
You're so
That's smart. That's very
you
smart.
guys
yeah.
are great. I love you guys. You're always-
I was reading an article about 3D printing houses, but that's another topic. Modular, it's
Oh, we'll have to do that next. 3D printing.
Oh, 3D printing, I don't know about that.
It's something new. I saw.
Jersey had like one of the first 3D houses built recently
Yeah.
on YouTube. No, was it Jersey? I'm sorry, it might be another state. But they built the first model, and then they're building like another 5 of them. But the township actually got involved, because it's not easy. You're not just gonna come in and say, "Hey, I'm gonna print this house. Is it up to code?" So they had to work with the town. They got the first one done. It came out beautiful.
Cool.
Cool.
Gotta check that out. Look at
Yeah.
that.
All right, now I got something else that I'm gonna learn. One thing at a time. First,
Oh,
I'm gonna get
well,
this down
we
pat.
we could talk all night about blending and different things, because we're not the typical.
In a near
we're not the
future,
typical investors,
all
so
homes will be modular or printed.
You know the cost of lumber right now.
Yeah, man.
It's expensive,
Yes.
yep.
It's gonna
See, here's the benefit of the other aspect of one of the other things we're looking at is storage unit builds. You don't
No,
really
but
use
Doing,
lumber.
yeah, but doing doing it, because I was watching it. The difference between doing a regular stick build right now and doing the modulars buy it in such quantities that they
Right.
get that bigger discount. So they're still able to offer the properties to be built
Kind of
at that
cheaper, right?
bigger discount than putting the stick figures up. Because
Yeah.
To do a stick, you're going to a company, you're buying just a bulk, but
that
not
much.
as compared to a modular company that's putting
Right.
up. They're doing like the hotels, apartment complexes
Yeah.
with them. They're doing, rows of townhouses. So it's gonna be the cheaper way to go right now.
Cuts down on your weather delays. I know there's a lot of positives to it.
And
We
it's
did
really
one
cool.
before, but like I said, ours was, we let somebody else manage the project, which kind of sucked
It was
because
a company because I never knew. So
we didn't know about it too much, but we needed to build a house. We bought it, had to be knocked down, and we said, let's try modular. So
Mhm.
we did that, but we hired a guy that does modular. And we're like, this is ridiculous. He's like, I got a team. And then after it got put together, his team was him with his brother kind of hanging out watching most of the time and just telling us from time to time. We're like, dude, you were supposed to be done like 6 months ago. What the hell's going on?
yeah, it was like Joe Schmo
It
and
was,
him
it was
hanging
funny.
out.
I was just like, all right, you live and learn. You got to go through some of the pains you grow, and it's one of the learning curves. Fail forward.
I did it. I had no clue what I was doing, and I did it.
Mhm.
And it was great because I learned some, not all of it, and I don't have all the contacts. This next step is I'm getting all the contacts are being given to me so that I can do them from now on.
Cool. I'll let you build my next dream home
Okie dokie,
Okay.
I'm in. We're
then.
gonna double the prices.
Uh-oh.
No.
You
All
want
right, triple.
Blame it on the material.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, we could. I was
Okay.
gonna say we could talk all night about
yep.
everything
Andre
real
popped
estate.
in, and then he popped back over to the
Oh,
Facebook
okay.
watch party.
Now we're getting into different topics
So,
than
all right.
leveraging money.
So leveraging, yes.
Yeah, I think everything's, everybody's good. I see Sean's still here with us. I don't know if the other guys are. They're all grayed out, and so the other guy's still here. And but I just wanted to get this topic out tonight, and I think it's really important with
Yep.
what people can do now, but like we just talked about in the future, 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, what's going to happen? Get your ducks all in a row, get everything lined up, start working now and pulling the trigger on some smaller deals, so later on you could buy in bulk and really explode your business.
Yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to thank all you guys for a great call tonight.
Oh, thanks for attending.
Thanks.
Thank you. Wow, for joining us.
Sean, thanks for hanging out.
Got something out of it.
9:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe the
Definitely.
time.
What?
As I said, we can talk all night. We always do.
No way.
It's 20 after 9.
My wife
Okay.
brought me the juice to keep going.
Past my bedtime.
Almost. All right. I think it's,
Going to sign off.
yeah. Thanks for jumping on.
It's my bedtime. I've been up since 5 this morning. Go to bed soon.
Yeah, I had to go actually babysit my 97-year-old aunt who fell. So
my
I had
God.
to go sit with her today. So everybody gets to take turns. So I've been up,
Fair.
but she's one of my biggest private lenders. I've used my inheritance over and over and over again.
Wow.
So she comes to all the
Oh,
projects.
that's another key. Start friends and family. Those are the
Yes.
people you want to start with.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Guys.
All right,
Thank
good
you,
night.
everybody.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
for
Scott,
everybody.
down the Marathon,
Thanks for
Sean, Jojo, Joel. Thank you,
Thank you for
everybody.
Joel. Well, Joel's with
Until
you
next
guys.
time, we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Yeah, come to the
Oh, join us,
networking event. Definitely
Yeah.
pop in and out of the room.
Marjay's networking. Yeah.
So, bye now.
Okay. Have a great night.